Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. I apologize for not streaming on Wednesday. It was not my intention to skip, but the day got away from me. And I think I did something during the day that I've forgotten about. I had virtual lunch with my friend Wes. That's what happened. So by the time that was over, I was just done. We were over it, and as much as I love y'all, I just needed to veg. So that's what I did. But today, before we get into talking about Vows and Vengeance and playing Inquisition and all that, we need to say a very special and exciting happy birthday to Doggy Snores in the chat, my best friend Elisa. It is her big 3-0 birthday. She's a grown-up now. She's joined the big kids in the real world. So happy birthday, bestie. I hope you're having a fabulous day so far. But yeah, let's talk Vows and Vengeance for a hot second, because that was a fucking ride. I was listening to it live with Elisa. Well, not live, but I was listening to it with Elisa. We were on Discord together, and we were both just losing our shit. Okay? 2 minutes in, I was so fucking impressed with the audio for this game. Also, my lighting is weird. Does this fix it? No. I'll just pull the curtain. It's fine. It's better-ish. It's fine. I'm so good at streaming, guys. There. Anyways, 2 minutes in. The audio production on this shit was wildly good. I felt like I was in a tavern. Like, genuinely felt like I was sitting in a tavern. You can hear the music from the bard in the background playing. You can hear people walking by. Just, like, basic conversation. I'm thoroughly impressed with the production level of this. I was not expecting it to be this good. Full stop. I wanted it to be this good, but I was not expecting it. So, very impressed. Elisa and I kept saying we felt like we were, like, eavesdropping on all the conversations. Like, we're outside, dusting the trees or, like, cutting the lawn with scissors just to be able to listen in longer. So, excellent job, BioWare. Holy shit. So I live tweeted my reactions. So if you're not following me on Twitter, it's Aaron Brody or Brody_bot on Twitter, and you should, because I will be live tweeting my reactions to every episode. 5 minutes in, I was like, holy shit, how did I know this guy was gonna get poisoned? Because I did. Just, like, the way she was like, have a drink with me, I'm like, oh, he's getting poisoned. Without question. Also, the dude was like evil Varric. He's like telling people, oh, if you want to hear my stories, you need to give me coin. And Nadia's a savage, and I liked her. I liked her a lot. I guess I should say spoiler warnings for Vows and Vengeance if you don't want to hear, or if you haven't listened yet. Also, Armin Taylor is the voice actor for Elio. I was not prepared. I was not prepared at all for the level of voice acting that we got. I mean, holy shit. Hit my knee. Literally, Elisa said she slid off her couch because she was listening on her couch. I was listening right here. I was like this in my chair. Was not expecting that voice to come out for this character. The little smooch noises, the little whispering, the like, good morning. I was not expecting it. The level, I mean, like, I was not prepared for the level of voice acting that this entire episode had. This is clearly going to be an amazing production podcast. And I should have known better, because BioWare is great about picking out voice actors, but I was just unprepared. And also, we were confused at first, because even though they say, like, at the beginning, like, she's a Liberati, he's a Tevinter mage. Like, they say it in the episode description. I wasn't expecting him to have an American accent, because you know how, like, American accent is typically Kunari, though sometimes not. City Elf, and Dwarves. And he was doing something that was some rich people shit. So I was like, even though he was a Tevinter mage, I'm like, is he a dwarf? Is he a Tevinter dwarf? Like, But no, I think he's human. I think that's what we've established, is he's a human being. But she is a Liberati, so she is a freed elf because her former master died. So there's kind of a class difference in this romance, right? And then, like, she's a former slave who's emancipated. He's rich. Yeah, he couldn't be a dwarf because magic, obviously. But, like, the voice threw me off for a second. But he's, like, rich. And she's like, I wouldn't be welcomed in this very pampered world you live in, as he's trying to propose. And he just goes over Buddy's head completely. And then we were, like, maybe 40 minutes in, 30 minutes in. And he's, like, talking to Neve. And Neve is like, you need to convince her not to do this. And he's just like, oh no, my girl can do what she wants. Like, I'm so proud of her. And it's like, Nadia, girl, this man supports you without question. Why are you concerned about this relationship? It's put a ring on it. Lock this man down. He gives me, Elio gives me unattainable hopes for men. I say as I'm married, but hi, Clemmy. Supportive, amazing, wonderful, and rich. Exactly. Like, he's the perfect man. I am married. It should remind everyone, as I lust over characters like Varric and Cullen, I'm married. I have a husband. And he supports my lustiness for imaginary characters. Also, Elio's authority when he tells the guards to let him go past. I was like, whew, sir? Elisa and I had to re-listen to that part a couple times. And then, when she goes, the eye went boom. I'm like, just so eloquent. Get you a man that supports your delusions. Honestly. I woke up one day realizing I'm the breadwinner in my marriage. Why did I marry for love? Clemmy, I thought you were like 20. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't know you were married. And then this is where I started to get... This is where we tie into the stream, right? So we're playing Dragon Age Inquisition. We've been playing Dragon Age Inquisition. I am not a Solas stan. Like, I'm starting to get the Rizz, right? It's like we say about Gale. He's a Rizzard. Solas has kind of got the Rizz. But this crotchety old man, he has so much Rizz. I can't remember what he said, but it caught me so off guard. Hang on, I have the transcript here. Let me see if I can find. Vic, gate guards. I'm scrolling. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was that he said. I think it was in their first greeting. I am Solas, and I am, I believe, the one that you speak. Give him the eye. Oh, what was it he said? I'm trying to remember. It's, when he was like, kindly remove your blade from my neck. And then he said, do you think the threat of a knife brings truth? And I just went, whew! I don't know why I found that really hot. And then he was such a dick because he was like, oh, you're sharper than you let on. When Nadia's like, it was no accident that Olin hired me, was it? And he goes, you're sharper than you let on. Like, oh. And then, it was this one specific line. Elisa and I were bodied. He goes, Elio says, I was told that the eye would end the world, not mend it. And Solas said, some people confuse a reckoning as an ending. Elio says, I see, so you seek reform. And Solas says, I seek regeneration. That line, holy shit. I don't know why it hit me as good as it did. I have something in my eye. But it was just like, I think it's the way he says it. That's the thing. David Gareth Lloyd, the way he delivers some of the shit. Yeah, what does he mean? What does regeneration mean? Honestly, my first thought was not about Dragon Age. It was David Gareth Lloyd plays Yanto in Torchwood, and so I just thought of Doctor Who regenerations. But yeah, I don't know exactly what he means. I assume regeneration in regenerating back to the way things used to be, bringing down the veil. And, you know, maybe some people die. Clemmy said, I'm 32, but I have too many common interests with some 8-year-olds I've met. Dude, I'm 31, and I'm right there with you. My little brother turned 12 today. His birthday present was he got a PS4 in Minecraft, and I'm like, that sounds like a great fucking time. Like Pokemon trading cards. I've been playing the One Piece trading card game with my brother-in-law, actually. Yeah, that line, specifically, it sounds like Solas is getting more and more unhinged. It's unhinged and oddly specific. Yeah, exactly. And I misheard things, too, when, after they were chanting. So, Nadia starts to freak out when Elio and Solas are chanting. And she's like, guys, this feels wrong. Like, something's wrong here. I think, and Elisa said this first, and I agree with it. I think her panic is the reason why the ritual went wrong. Because the Fade reflects what it sees in the real world. You are what you make it. Yeah, exactly. So I think she unintentionally is the reason that the ritual went wrong. That's my kind of vibe. And also Elio is like, it's working, I can feel it. Like, he feels fine about it. Even when the cave is breaking down. Yeah, and Solas tells her, silence, please. Like, he's like, dude, chill. If you let go now, the eye will explode. The cave collapses. And so there's this one specific part that I misheard. So Solas says, Nadia, here, take my hand. And she says, save Elio. I thought what Solas said in response was, he has crushed over. Or he's been crushed over. Like, the cave crushed onto him. Solas said he has crossed over. And when I hear that, I think, okay, one of two things has happened. Either it's similar to what happened in Inquisition, when your characters fall into the Fade, like he's physically in the Fade, or he has died and his soul is trapped in the Fade. It's going to be one of those two things. And Solas says, we must escape. I'm sorry. And it's like, bitch, you can't say you're sorry just because you fucked up again. Like, Solas made another bad decision. It's like he can't understand that he makes bad decisions. So then at the very, very end, she hears Elio's voice screaming out for her and saying, like, I can't escape without you. You must find a way. So my vibe check is Elio's alive. I think he's alive. I think he's physically stuck in the Fade. And she has to save him somehow. And I think that's going to be part of what this quest line through the game is. So that's kind of my vibe. Nadia's still looking out for Vic's family. Her friend who died is very sweet. Nadia's heartbreak is also just so visceral. It's like bordering on painful to listen to. No, he can't just communicate to make things clear about what he needs to be done, and other people fumble the ball. Yeah, I know. That part's annoying. So yeah, overall, you know, I feel like we were really in the thick of things. The fact that Mae Whitman is Nadia's voice actor, I love Mae Whitman. She's been in so many TV shows. I don't know if she's ever done games like this before, but one thing I'm really excited about is she's a musician. Like, she's got albums out there. She sang on Parenthood when she was on that TV show. She sang on other stuff. I really hope we get to see Nadia or, like, hear her sing something. I think that would be cool as fuck. And the last thing I'll say about it, sorry. The last thing I'll say about it is I feel like this is a really BioWare story to tell. I feel like they did a really, really good job. What just happened? There we go. They did a really good job of just telling a story the way BioWare likes to tell stories. So overall, I'm very impressed. Yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. I'm very, very, very impressed with the production. I'm very impressed with how they've done everything. I think they did a fantastic job. And I'm really excited to see what happens next. So, that's my take. And now we're going to play some Inquisition and see if you guys can get me on the Slovellen train. I'm already kind of there. It's definitely not my favorite romance so far. I wouldn't say it's going to be my canon, but I am impressed. I need an option for my rook to sit down with Solas and give him a communication 101 lesson. Honestly, though. Uh-oh, we have black screen. But the little Inquisition symbol in the corner is going, so I feel like that means we're probably okay. For real, yeah. I never thought I'd also be Team Solas. Dragon Age of the Veilguard is gonna be interesting. Yeah, so... I'm going to do, like, my canon playthrough, or the one I play on stream with you guys first, is going to be, if it's relevant, Hawk... We'll do the characters I have streamed, with an exception. I may or may not finish my Marion Hawk playthrough before then, where it's basically the exact same thing I streamed for you guys already, except no romance. She doesn't romance anybody. Because in Inquisition, there's a dialogue option you can get where she and Varric kind of have a heart-to-heart before they go in the war room to start that one quest. And, I also think that... So if you leave Hawk behind in the Fade, she romanced nobody, she's female, and she picked options to flirt with Varric in DA2, Varric will have this one line to say where he says, like, I never got to tell her, well, I guess it doesn't matter now. Which just breaks my fucking heart, because I think Hawk and Varric should be canon. I've thought it for years. I'm writing a fan fiction about it. So, like, it breaks my heart that is in there. So, what I want to do is, you know, I want to see in my stream playthrough with you guys, A, can Rook romance Varric, and B, if Hawk survives, can Hawk and Varric finally get together? The Viscount and his girl. Like, that's what I want to know. And if BioWare kills off my dwarf, we are going to have some fucking problems. I'm just putting it out there now. Yeah, 100% Hawk and Varric are true love. That would be so romantic, right? Oh. I'd only be okay with this being canon if I could romance Fenris again. Fair. I sent you the part of the transcript that I think backs up the panic theory. Okay, oh no. Did my game just crash? My game crashed. Windows Defender blocked it. Allow access. What the fuck? Why did my game just crash because of that? Rude. Absolutely rude. Okay. Well, let's try fucking relaunching it, I guess. Whoops. My bad. Okay. Either my Inky has moved on from the egg and gotten with Fenris, or Rook can get it. But what about, you romanced Fenris with your hawk, so what did you do with your hawk? That's the question. Oh, Elisa sent me the part of the transcript that she thinks backs up the panic theory. Okay, let me pull that up and, excuse me, and see. I'm just talking about it. Varric romance is canon. I gotcha. It would make me so happy. Let me see what you sent me. Elio, when Solas, terrible at lying, Dragon Age, starts wording sentences like this, you start running as fast as you can. Lamau, I love him so much. Elio and the I will help us fix that. Solas, more or less. Nadia. And you're sure this is safe? Solas, as safe as we can make it. Oh, I didn't even pick up on that. Dang. Okay, let's see. Are we gonna be okay here? We're just gonna hit continue and see what happens. Don't crash, game. Please don't crash. I just want to play my Inquisition. There we go. Cool. Also, we got a new follower while we were offline here on Twitch. So, Torek, thank you so much for following my Twitch channel. I hope you're enjoying the chaos. I apologize in advance for both the supremely chaotic moments and the times when I'm not as entertaining. Because sometimes I get sucked in and I'm just like, what's happening? Oh. We are going to dip into the vending machine, though. Yes, I have a little candy vending machine on my desk. It's perfect. It's full of gummy nerds. Yay, Torek's here. Who's Torek? Wait, is there someone you know, Clemmy? Are you guys, like, shilling me out to the public? I appreciate it. Is it gonna load? This is a concern. Oh, it's slow. I did think about promoting you in the Bioware promotion section. I already did. Thank you, though. I did it today. Torek and I met via Bioware server. Then we kept running into each other in another streamer's chat. Now we're in an NSFW server for Dragon Age because some folks keep getting muted. Can I join? Can I join? I like NSFW Dragon Age stuff. You should... Some of the things I have found on Tumblr recently. Sure, it's unhinged. I'm unhinged. You haven't been here long enough to know, but I'm fucking nuts. Oh my god. Okay. Ooh, there's an exclamation point. Oh, it's the special shipments that keeps popping up. Okay, so we were going through the Hinterlands. So we're going to continue that, because we're not going to do the threat that remains just yet. Yeah, we were doing hunger pangs. Pain. You know what I'm trying to say. Let's take the gang. Confirm. I am much excited. You know, everyone says and talks about, and I'm guilty of this too, complaining how much they boink every single one of you. Go to jail. It's fine. It's fine, Katu. Stop. Everyone talks about how much they hate the Hinterlands. Honestly, I don't hate it that much. I find it kind of fun. So, husband, I have a question for you. Yeah. Before you go to work. Are you planning on making yourself a cup of tea?
Yeah.
Would you consider making me a cup of tea?
Yeah, I can do that.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
For sure.
Husband of the year. Yeah, you're in here too, Katu. You can't talk. Katu, hush, you can't prove anything. We can prove much. Oh. Okay, I have to remember the controls. It's been a minute. Katu, you're in the next cell over. I can see you. Yeah, Elisa and I are sharing a cell, but you're right here with us. Okay, Varric, you need to, prove your worth. Same with you, Solas. let's see how this goes. Yes, but it is a bit of a slog. Yeah, that's true. I don't hate the Hinterlands. I think some folks just didn't read / pick up the clues you're supposed to go to Valero pretty soon after meeting Mother Giselle, so that the world opens up. Yeah, that's fair. I'm just trying to get the ram meat. I'm trying to be helpful. Enjoy playing as Varric. Don't worry, we're gonna join the fight that's up ahead in just a moment. I'm not used to these controls, so I really have to, like, focus to get them.
Apostates!
Okay. Die.
The apostates have fled to the hills.
Stronghold of the apostate mages. Let the fools in Redcliffe play the good mage, as they always do. We know the truth. This world is ours to conquer, and every worthless peasant who threw a stone, every Templar who glared in disappointment at our harrowing, deserves to know it. Follow the trail to the Witchwood and find your brothers. An unsigned letter, the scratched handwriting almost too sloppy to read. Oi, oi. All right?
Fine work out there, killing those vultures.
People will think twice before attacking the Inquisition now.
Yeah. Okay, there's a thingy up here to poke at. And smell fruit. Ooh, let's read a thing first. Astrarium. See, I love this because I love astrology. Or astronomy. Also astrology, but I meant astronomy. I like the stars. I like looking at the stars. Regarding your inquiry regarding the so-called astrariums, it is our considered belief that these are relics from a cult that existed in a pre-Andrastian era of the Tevinter Imperium. Now, what would be considered a cult in a society that worshipped the old gods? An order of magisters who believed in the destruction of the magisterium, the governing body of the Imperium that determines which mages are and are not given the magister title. The members of this order wished to return to an earlier period where dreamers ruled, and evidence indicates they operated throughout Tevinter, though primarily in the frontier areas. There, they would lock away their secrets, caches of treasure, and perhaps even secret meeting places, though we have no way of knowing for certain. Unlockable only through knowledge of ancient astronomy, a practice that was, we understand, rather out of fashion in the late Tevinter period. According to our investigations, each of the astrariums could point to the secret cache if one knew the 3 constellations that mapped to each device present at that site. Connect the Dweomers. English good. In the correct configuration, and it would be revealed. Many of these relics were sought out by Andrastian cultists in the early Divine Age, the Order of Fiery Promise in particular, and destroyed. Why? Because they believed the astrariums held together the Veil, and that destroying them would destroy the Veil and thus the world. Such is the way of cults of any kind that the true reasons for of any kind that the true reasons for what they do could never truly be understood by modern minds. From a letter written by Magister Peladanus, head of the Chorial Order, 512 Exalted. It said like Dwemer, I believe. Thank you, Luke. I appreciate it. Well, I guess not being able to open the stream outside saved me from spoilers. Yes, I apologize. I was definitely spoilering it up. Okay, we're gonna play with the Astrarium. Constellations. Astrariums allow you to unlock the secrets of the heavens. Recreate the image of a constellation by connecting the stars without making the same line twice. We can do that. We go here. Boom, 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 boom. It's the sword. Finish. Constellation Judix, or Udix, depending on what language you speak, because that could be the French Udex. Depicted as a downturned sword, the constellation Udex is oft called the Sword of Mercy in common parlance, even though the sword image was assigned to these stars long before Andraste's time. Udex refers to the concept of justice in ancient Tevinter, and the downturned aspect of the sword indicated a guilty verdict, which, in those times, generally translated to execution. Obviously, with its modern meaning and use as a symbol by the Templar Order, the old interpretation is frowned upon in scholarly circles. From A Study of Theodosian Astronomy by Sister Iran Petrarchius. That's what I'm going to say anyways.
Where does this lead?
Where does this lead? I suppose you'll have to find out, Inquisitor. Your inquisitorialness. Okay, we need to kill some more lambs, and there's a big bird. Big bird! Too bad I can't pet you. Okay, anyways. Back into this way direction. A lot of this is like iron and elf fruit, which we don't necessarily need. Though I'm not opposed to collecting it if we happen to walk past it. Oh, there's an exclamation point. We should go poke it. It's been so long since I've played this game. There's so many things I've forgotten. Oh, it was up there. Oh no, it's right here. A sketch of Callanhad's foothold. Okay. Sorry you're dead. Or am I? Hey, Varric. Yeah. Can I just play the whole game as Var? That'd be kind of awesome. I'd be okay with that, honestly. I feel like I've been here before. Yeah, we've been here before. Oh, but since we left the area, we can take the Royal Elf route again. Okay, actually, I've never done this before. Can I just play the whole game as Varric? Because I would be so down. Play the game as my favorite dwarf. Don't mind if I do. Look at his little legs. They just so stuffy. He's my favorite short king. Varric can do no wrong. I will die for this dwarf. I will kill for this dwarf. I will maim for this dwarf. Cool. Thanks for your gold, person who probably died here. We're just gonna keep killing rams for now. Because I want to get that quest over with, and it's a pain in the penny. Ooh, elf fruit. Dwarves like that too. cave over here. Where am I? Oh, there's a cache here. I should probably switch back to my Inquisitor. As fun as it is to play as Varric. I also know that my favorite dwarf would not, he would not be running at the head of the group. Ooh, Drakestone.
You know, not every dwarf likes caves.
Really? Sweet.
This must be one of the caches Recruit Whittle mentioned.
Sweet. Look at us, we're so good. But I'm gonna loot everything in here, because why not? And you guys have anything fun going on this weekend? What are we doing? What are we gonna do? What are you guys up to? We will be going to our friend Tyler and Caitlin's house to hang out with them for Sunday for Labor Day weekend. A letter found on a dead dwarf. I need you to check a cave up in the hills off the path between Redcliffe and Haven. If you can get past the mages and Templars, it's worth it. Purest vein I've seen so close to the surface. Okay. Oh, and there's Nugs. I don't feel like I need to kill the Nugs. Oh. Die.
Eat dirt!
You can't just tell people to eat dirt, Varric. That's so fucking rude. Okay. Last one. Boom, no more starving people. It's my friend's second annual field day, so adult Capri Suns and realizing how out of shape we all are. That sounds great. Okay, holdings in the Hinterlands. I don't remember what's over this way, so we're gonna go over here. Because why not? We can fast travel to not Redcliffe. Well, outskirts of Redcliffe. You guys know what I mean. You know what I'm saying. I don't remember what's over here. I don't remember what I'm doing at any time. I'm just here. I'm here for a good time, not a long time. Oh, loot the body. A letter. A letter found on a noblewoman's corpse. My lady Valenia. Valina. I know you're frightened, but the light in the sky shouldn't scare you. It's the eye of the Maker, finally coming back to take the faithful to the Golden City. Leave your father's servants and come up into the hills, away from the pointless fighting between the Templars and mages. Let me introduce you to Speaker Aeneas. She'll explain everything, and we'll be together and happy, waiting for everything to be right in the world. Your love, Lord Berand. Sorry, buddy. She didn't make it to you. Chest. There's more bad guys over this way. I don't really want to do a whole new area just yet. So let's go back here. We'll turn this in. And then we can go do the thing in Val Royeaux. I was hoping to recruit Blackwall, but I think you have to do Val Royeaux first. I can't remember. Okay, the hunter is up here.
Long day. What do you mean?
What do you mean? Hey, buddy.
Mages, Templars, bandits, demons, making it hard for a man to hunt for his supper.
Here.
Here, maybe this will help.
Solas slightly approves.
More than helps. With this, I can fill these hungry bellies.
Look at how
These
grumpy
folks
he
with
looks.
hope. I didn't think much of the Inquisition, but no one else is helping like you lot. Maybe I was wrong.
Maybe we're wrong. Oh, and we got another power. Hell yeah. Are there any other easy things we can do before we continue? Inform Barand of what's her face's death.
I'll ask around again tomorrow.
There's a rift at the foothold, which we have not done yet. Thank you. Thank you, my love. Of course. I've been brought tea. Okay, I'm gonna lurk for a bit. I always leave my time-sensitive work for Fridays. Oh my god, good day. One day my boss will notice. Good luck, my dude. Cheers. I have a delicious smelling tea. It smells spicy. It smells like chai. Oh, yum. Okay. We are going to... Brody. That's me. What? What? What, Brody? Brody what? Brody what? Is it the thing on Discord that I've been tagged in? No. What, Brody? Help. What help? What did you guys do? What did you do? What did you do? It won't let me send for help. Oh no, I'm dying. Is it because of the new Discord server? I don't understand what's happening in this new server. I'm just picking the Golden Hollow because that's the name of my shop, because I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I'm not going to look at this right now because I don't think my heart can handle it. And instead, I'm going to go deal with this Fade Rift over here. Don't open it on stream. I'm not going to, guys. I'm not going to. But I don't know what the Golden Hollow is, and I'm a little afraid. Okay, we're gonna go back to Valroya, or we're gonna go to do the threat remains. That's what we're gonna go do. I'm sorry I won't let you send for help. I'm assuming that was what you were talking about, but I don't know. We're here for it. Okay. Cool. Cheers. I don't fucking know. If there's Varric smut on there, I'll be happy. Speaking of my favorite dwarf, I'm gonna... Oh, actually, I should look and see at my equipment, because I've picked some stuff up. I do like how this is done, by the way. Ooh. This is better. Oh. I'm not level 6 yet. Unfortunate. It's fine. Cassandra. Oh, Swedish Fingers. Absolutely. I forgot about that. Solas. What you have is fine. I told you it's unhinged. Okay, really gonna go lurk now. Just when you hop off, join us in chat so we can hear your reaction. I will, I promise. By then, Dave will be at work too, so. Oh, Varric, that hat does nothing for you, my sweet. My love. Honey, no. Thank God no one can see it. Oh, that's a good looking dwarf. Look at the chest hair. Why is this making him look so chonky? Yeah, he looking good. Okay. Anything for you, Solas? We could put Solas in the slutty armor, but I'm not going to. As funny as that would be. Defender armor seems good for you. As funny as that is, I'm not going to do that. And for me, what I've got is actually pretty damn good right now. Okay. What is this? Oh, I need to have higher. And then accessories, like no one has one. I'm number 1. So I'm going to get the cooldown one. I have a ring of critical damage. And I can put this on Solas. Cool. He gets a slight boost to cold stuff at the cost of his health, which is fine. Oh, the dwarf. The dwarf is so good looking. It's not fair.
Need something?
The red lyrium we found at the temple seemed to upset you.
My brother Bartrand and I sort of discovered red lyrium during an expedition in the Deep Roads. We located an ancient thaig, so old it barely looked dwarven. There was this idol there made of it. Bartrand brought it back to the surface, and, well, everything's gone downhill from there.
I need to adjust my audio in this game. Hang on. One moment, please. Headphones, that's what I want. Okay, back. Confirm changes.
So what is it? Just another kind of lyrium?
The red stuff is lyrium like a dragon is a lizard. It's not just a different color. It has a whole host of weirdness all its own. I've written to every mining cast house in Orzammar. No one's seen this stuff before or knows where it came from.
What makes it special?
Regular lyrium can mess you up pretty badly, but you have to ingest it for that to happen. Red lyrium messes with your mind when you're just near the stuff. You hear singing, get violent, paranoid, and then it does creepy shit. Makes things float, brings statues to life. It also turned Kirkwall's Knight Commander to lyrium. Everyone's been kept at least 100 paces from it since.
How did the red lyrium get in the Temple of Sacred Ashes?
I don't know. So as far as I knew, the only piece to make it to the surface was destroyed. And the location of the thaig it came from is a secret. Did someone find more of it in the Deep Roads? That's not a cheery thought.
I think that's enough on red lyrium.
Yeah, not really my favorite subject.
I love him so much. It's a problem. If there's Varric stuff in the new stream, Discord, I'm gonna
At
lose
least we've got
my mind.
Inquisition troops out at Redcliffe now, giving those people some real help.
It's almost as if Mother Giselle brought the troops out there by going herself.
The soldiers are more useful against the bandits who are preying on the refugees.
Alright, let's go talk to the man with the Rizz. Excuse me, sir.
Hello.
Hello. Tell me about the Fade.
What do you know about the Fade?
A great deal, for my wanderings. There are few hard facts, but I can share what I have learned.
Bless you, dear. Tell me about the Veil.
I'd like to know more about the Veil.
Circle mages call it a barrier between this world and the Fade, but according to my studies in ancient elven lore, that is a vast oversimplification. Without it, imagine if spirits entered freely. The Fade was not a place one went, but a state of nature like the wind.
I just want to know if you can smooch more than the party members. Yeah, same. With the new game, absolutely.
It sounds like it would be wonderful.
And dangerous. But yes, A world where imagination defines reality. Where spirits are as common as trees or grass. Instead, spirits are strange and fear the obvious peril. And a demon is that wish gone wrong. The veil creates a barrier that makes true understanding most unlikely. But the question is a good one. And it matters that you thought to ask.
I know. This is going to be so much fun. Don't worry, Cullen. I'll take care of this.
For she who trusts in the Maker, fire,
Fire
I don't
is her
know
water.
if Apothecary Don can get you that many healing drafts, revered mother.
If he cannot, then he may simply tell me no.
Yes, revered mother.
And if he does wish to tell me no, I would appreciate him doing so in person.
Yes, revered mother.
The sound died for me and Luca. Can anyone else hear me? My audio seems like it's working.
Sigrid says it will cost at least 10.
Fine.
Not sure why you would want to pay out of your own pocket for books, Enchanter.
I'm not an enchanter, and too many books get lost. Knowledge gets lost forever.
Okay, well.
A learned child is a blessing.
It's buffering forever for me now, too. Everything on my end says that it should be fine, so I'm not sure what's happening. No audio on my end. One moment, please. Okay, can everyone hear me now? Everything on my end says you guys should be able to hear me. So maybe this is a Twitch thing. But you should, theoretically, be able to hear me. Same. What the heck? Hang on. Let me try. Aaron, say words. Aaron, say words. Yeah, I can't hear anything either. What the fuck? Let me try. Okay, what about now? Anything. I don't understand what's happening. You can hear me now. Okay. Okay. Yay, we fixed it. Literally, I don't know what happened. No settings changed. It just all of a sudden decided not to work. Okay, well, we're working now, and that's what matters. Hello, Twitch chat. Hello, YouTube. I apologize for the chaos. But only a little bit. I only apologize a little. Anyways, Ignore the Ko-Fi bot. I still have to figure out how to get rid of that. But let's try playing again, okay? Let's stream. Everything's fine. Okay, let's go address the Chantry. Address the Chantry in Valrayo. The remaining Chantry clerics have declared the Inquisition heretical. Attempts to gather allies against the breach have been rebuffed, and at this moment we could not step foot into the capital without being attacked by a mob or arrested. We must convince the Chantry to permit us entry into the city so we can show them the Herald of Andraste is not the monster they believe. I'm at the lowest possible level for this, but it's fine. It's fine.
Having the Herald address the clerics is not a terrible idea.
You can't be serious.
Mother Giselle isn't wrong. At the moment, the Chantry's only strength is that they are united in opinion.
And we should ignore the danger to the Herald.
Let's ask her.
Yeah, you should ask me. Look at how fine I look. Look at my outfit. I'm fly as fuck. This may not actually help.
I'm more concerned this won't actually solve any problems.
I agree. It just lends credence to the idea that we should care what the Chantry says.
I
I
also
will
love
go
the
with
colors
her.
on Josie.
Mother Giselle said she could provide us names. Use them.
But why? This is nothing but a...
What choice do we have, Liliana? Right now, we can't approach anyone for help with the breach. Use what influence we have to call the clerics together. Once they are ready, we will see this through.
Okay. Address the Chantry in Valrayo. The remaining Chantry clerics have declared the Inquisition heretical. Oh wait. We already did this. Okay, confirm operation. Let's do it. I am excited. I'm so excited for this. Guardsman. Oh, I was gonna read it, but too late. It loaded too fast. Oh yeah, also went to the computer store with my husband earlier this week, and it looks like I'm not gonna have to upgrade too much. Oh, the music. And there's my boy, Beric.
The city still mourns.
In the rain of the lion. Yes, be afraid.
Just a guess, Seeker, but I think they all know who we are.
Your skills of observation never fail to impress me, Varric.
My Lady Herald.
Oh,
You're
God.
one of Leliana's people. What have you found?
The Chantry mothers await you, but so do a great many Templars.
There are Templars here?
People seem to think the Templars will protect them from the Inquisition. They're gathering on the other side of the market. I think that's where the Templars intend to meet you.
Only one thing to do, then.
Let's do it.
They wish to protect the people? From us?
Protect them from the blasphemous Herald of Andraste, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Surely they cannot think such a thing.
Why not? They wouldn't be the only ones.
Mm-hmm.
You think the Order's returned to the fold, maybe? To deal with us upstarts?
I know Lord Seeker Lucius. I can't imagine him coming to the Chantry's defense. Not after all that's occurred. Return to Haven. Someone will need to inform them if we are delayed.
As you say, my lady.
Okay, we have these things to read, which I love doing. The Avenue of Her Reflective Thought. Inscribed upon a plaque, Our Lady and the actors of her rise and fall, her message and visage are worth repeating. These are really neat. So, like, that looks like Mafrath. Mafrath's remorse. Beneath, scratched by a vandal. At meeting a low door frame. His remorse at meeting a low door frame, I like it. These are so pretty, though. And his head suddenly weighs too much. Ha. Mafrath's regret about his unfortunate hair. Ha. Or lack thereof. Mafrath's penitence and unrelated headache. I like this. The avenue of her reflective thought. The avenue is inspirational but wise. But wise travelers do not linger in their respects, not just because the bazaar awaits, but because the area before the back-turned statues is treacherous. Local legend has it that the child empress Amy abused the opportunity of religious repose to relieve herself beneath the gaze of Our Lady. Unable to discipline the toddling leader, her attendants instead chastised the statues and had them turned in supposed embarrassment. True or not, foolish youths dare each other to soil the spot in similar fashion, and a place of otherwise reverent thought always carries a faint odor about it. Excerpted and torn from a disposable walking tour of the capital by Philum, a bard. That's fucking funny. Another plaque. The Emporium of Mortal Means. A plaque reads, for all matters defensive concern, offensive intent, and study of arts, martial and, with sanction, magical. Hi.
Not open today. Not until this fast is over, at least. Too many swords out.
Fair enough. Okay. Look at all the Templars. Knot of heroes united in hatred. If we are re-examining motive, let us not stop at the sons of the betrayer, for the first leader of young Orlais after the sons was Jeshavis. I don't know. Chattel wife of two of them, but examine the facts. A proud daughter of the Syrian, chosen not unkindly by Isarath to be his bride. It was her reach that granted him power to unify. Consider what she witnessed in the consolidation of her people. She has always been portrayed with sadness, but what if when our nation was born, the game was born with it? Judge her actions not as property, but as master, and what changes? As victim, Isarath, rumored cruel, breaks the clans in a lust for power. His brother, Varald, exile from his own machinations in young Navarra, appeals to the saddened wife and promises a new path. The brothers vie, and Varald wins, and then demands the hand of Jeshavis, another Ferelden greedy for power. In a decade, the shy victim Jeshavis is the figurehead of the people's rebellion against the last son of the betrayer. As master, bound to rivalries far older, she harbors a hatred beyond Tevinter. And while Isarath is distracted with personal concern or with building a nation to withstand his own people's enemy, she invites the broken brother and sets him against the driven. While accepting marriage to the victor, Jeshavis seeds rebellion among those who remember how their lands were taken not a generation before. Both leave her as ruler, as Gioja, but should not the rule of a victim be uncertain? Jeshavis rules for 42 years. There were no great swings backwards, no people's retribution, for she had become accustomed. If the goals of Isarath were selfish and the goal of Jeshavis was to reverse them, then Orlais is born of the failure of both. But if Isarath built his father's wall and Jeshavis wanted revenge, then we are a nation of two successes, two parents, in opposition but in partnership. Excerpted from A History Not of Heroes, Readings in the Ugly Heart of Change, collected by Philum, a bard. I like that one. I kind of forgot about it. And then what's on here?
Why are the Templars suffering losses in the capital? Isn't this a stronghold?
The war is felt even here. Order must be restored to end it.
I bet they're thinking the same thing about us.
Fair. Alright, well, let's give them what they want.
Templars will help us, as they always have. No need for an Inquisition.
We'll see about that.
The Inquisition. We don't require that sort of thing in Valois.
We'll see about that. Hey, I'm here, bitch.
Good people of Val Royal, hear me.
Hear me.
Together, we mourn our divine. A naive and beautiful heart.
Justinian was not naive. Let's be real.
You wonder what will become of a murderer. Well, wonder no more.
So much drama.
Behold, the so-called Herald of Andraste, claiming to rise where our beloved fell. We say this is a false prophet. The Maker would send no elf in our hour of need.
Racist.
We came here in peace simply to talk, and this is what you do. I implore you, let us sit down together to deal with the real threat.
It's true. The Inquisition seeks only to end this madness before it is too late.
It is already too late. The Templars have returned to the Chantry. They will face this Inquisition, and the people will be safe once more.
Still yourself. She is beneath us.
I forgot about that.
Make her know!
Glenn.
You're not here to deal with the Inquisition.
As if there were any reason to.
Lord Seeker Lucius, it's imperative that we speak with...
You will not address me.
Rude.
Lord Seeker?
Creating a heretical movement. Raising up a puppet as Andraste's prophet. You should be ashamed. You should all be ashamed. The Templars failed no one when they left the Chantry to purge the mages.
What?
You are the ones who have failed. You who'd leash our righteous swords with doubt and fear.
Bro.
If you came to appeal to the Chantry, you are too late. The only destiny here that demands respect is mine.
Okay, we're pausing the stream just for a moment because companion room picks just dropped. So, let me open that. Oh my god, this looks so pretty. Okay, full screen. Guys, your companions will have their own rooms in your headquarters, known as the Lighthouse. Okay, so we have this one. This looks potion-y and kind of dungeon-y, but there's a Grey Warden shield, so this is probably either Davrin or maybe Emmerich. Oh, this one's got to be Balara. Because it's so full of plants. Oh, it's so cute. Oh, no, this is Emmerich's room. So the first one's... I'm going to say it's Davrin's then. It's Davrin because of the Grey Warden shield. Oh my god, this looks so cool. You guys. What the fuck room is this? Plants are Harding's place for sure. Oh, that's fair. That's Harding. Who the fuck's room is this? This must be Balara then, because it's so weird. Or Nev? Potentially Nev? This feels like Balara though, just like all the weird contraptions, and it feels very Fade-like. And then there's this other set. Oh, this is cool. Oh. It's very simple, very straightforward. This is probably Lucanus. Yeah, someone's comment is immediately, there's no way this is someone's room. Are you leaving, my love?
Time to go.
Okay. Have a good day at work. They dropped new Dragon Age information, so we're excited.
Nice. Very exciting. Alright, I'll see you tonight.
Sounds good. Love you.
Love you too. Bye-bye.
Bye. Drive safe. This must be Tasha's room. Dragon bones and dragon stuff all in here. There's no way it's not. This could be Nev's as well. Why does this feel like this has to be Lucanus? Like, I feel like this has to be Lucanus's room, and that's so sad. Okay, I'm gonna quote this. Yeah. He sleeps with the cheese. Oh no. Okay. He can hit it next to the cheese. You guys. Let's fucking go. I do really like Emmerich's room. Quick, do we peep Manfred anywhere? Is he peeping in somewhere? You got any games on your phone? Oh, so cool. Yeah, so this is clearly Emmerich. This has to be Never Balara. Like, it has to be. That's probably Harding. I agree with y'all's sentiment on that. And this has to be Davrin. It's so dark. But, like, just because of the Grey Warden shield, it must be. So pretty. Oh, I'm excited. So my guesses go Davrin, Harding, Emmerich, I think Balara. So we're going to repost and quote this. I can type. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Dragon Age. You can't just give us things like this. Oh, what did they post 22 hours ago? Oh, there's a recap at in the blog. Also, I need to buy The Missing. I don't own it. We need to fix that. God, I'm excited. Okay, back to what we were supposed to be doing with today's stream. Which is playing Dragon Age. It's never that simple, though, is it? Join as Cullen did. No, we're gonna say help us close the breach.
What we truly need is an alliance that will seal the breach.
Oh, the breach is indeed a threat. But you certainly have no power to do anything about it.
But Lord Seeker, what if she really was sent by the Maker? What if...
You are called to a higher purpose. Do not question.
I hate that.
I will make the Templar Order a power that stands alone against the Void. We deserve recognition. Independence. You have shown me nothing. And the Inquisition, less than nothing.
Rude ass, bitch ass.
Templars, Val Royo, is unworthy of our
Also,
protection.
your eyebrows look like shit.
We march.
Orlesians care about their looks. Uh-oh, Varric, what are you gonna say?
Charming fellow, isn't he?
Has Lord Seeker Lucius gone mad?
Oh, I love him.
Do you know him very well?
He took over the Seekers of Truth 2 years ago, after Lord Seeker Lambert's death. He was always a decent man, never given to ambition and grandstanding. This is very bizarre.
It doesn't look like we'll be getting the Templars to help us after all.
I wouldn't write them off so quickly. There must be those in the Order who see what he's become. Either way, we should first return to Haven and inform the others.
Hey, girl.
Excuse me, but is what they're saying real? The Inquisition's going to fix the hole in the sky?
That's the plan.
We're going to give it a try, at least.
No one is doing anything. The Chantry is useless, and the Templars... Andraste. I never thought they'd abandon us. Listen, your camp will need food. I have contacts. We'll have deliveries there in days.
You want to help the Inquisition?
Never been part of something this big before, but if your Inquisition's going to seal the sky, I want to help.
Cassandra?
What do you think, Cassandra?
I think the woman is asking you and not me.
Well, she is.
The Herald of Andraste. Yes, I understand. Haven is a mess, but we won't turn away anyone willing to help. Invite her,
Facts.
if it pleases you.
All right.
Head to Haven, then. We need good people.
I don't know if I'm that, but it will be nice to see. Thank you.
Cool. I forgot about the agents. Oh, I wish I could talk to Varric. You good?
This victory must please you greatly, Seeker Cassandra.
We came here seeking only to speak with the mothers. This is not our doing, but yours.
And you had no part in forcing our hand? Do not delude yourself.
Why are you holding your...
Now we have been shown up by our own
stomach?
Templars, in front of everyone. And my fellow clerics have scattered to the wind along with their convictions. Just tell me one thing. Are you the Maker's chosen, as so many claim?
I don't know.
To tell you the truth, I don't know.
That is more comforting than you might imagine. I suppose it is out of our hands now. We shall all see what the Maker plans in the days to come.
How many Templars turned on the Chantry exactly?
They rebelled across Thedas. Some remained loyal, but not enough to call them the Order. The White Spire here in the capital was the largest garrison, but now it stands empty. Perhaps more shall flock to the Lord Seeker's banner now. How far has faith waned, I wonder?
How are the people?
How are people responding to all of this?
Despair. Fear. We mourn Her Holiness. The people look to the sky and wonder how long before terror comes for us all. There must be a way through this. Is it you? The Templars? The Maker's will? We abandoned our duties. We servants of the faith. Now we can only pray.
Where have they gone?
Where is the Lord Seeker taking the Templars?
Also, who's blowing up my
can't
phone?
begin to guess the Lord Seeker's mind. He could not have abandoned his intended role more completely.
There must be sense to what we can't see.
Must there? Rebellion seems popular in certain quarters, doesn't it, Seeker? Is crafting the Templars into a new power really any worse than declaring a rival to the Chantry itself?
Listen. Yeah, what did you want him to do?
What were you hoping the Lord Seeker would do exactly?
Put aside his war against the mages and find common purpose against something much more dire. Obviously, He has other plans. With the knights vigilant slain at the Conclave, there is nothing more we can do.
Perhaps there is something we can do.
I'd like to believe that, Seeker.
Yeah.
I truly would. I suppose we can expect renewed effort against the mages from him, and yet more chaos.
Lovely. What do you believe about me?
You're obviously skeptical. What do you believe I am?
Our divine. Her holiness is dead. I have seen evidence for everything, except what would comfort me.
That doesn't answer my question.
For you to be true, a great many things must be false. And if you are false, a great many things must have failed. There is chaos ahead, whatever your intentions.
So what happens now? Will the Chantry continue to denounce me?
We have already done so. And what good has it done us? Now it falls on us to select a new divine, if we can. And leave the next step to her.
Provided such a selection is even possible.
I truly don't know. Any revered mother who could have followed Justinia died at the
Who do you
conclave.
guys typically pick to
What
be
becomes of us,
the next divine?
And your Inquisition is in the Maker's hands now.
As much as I like Liliana, my vote is usually Cassandra.
There's got to be a way to calm everything down and clean up this mess.
I hope against hope that may be the case.
Okay, well, you kind of did this to yourself, bitch.
They left us. The Templars left us to the mages. Chantry liars.
Hey, Barnabas.
Open? Yes, as open as I can be. If you've a need for the well cut or the sparkling, perhaps I can help. At the very least, we can appear like everything is normal.
Orlesians do appreciate it when things appear normal. Oh god, I don't know if I need any of this. I'll sell all of my valuables. He's got a bunch of accessories. Lully for me, but I think Cass is my fave pick just because she's more realistic about how change is received. That's kind of what I like about her too, is like she's aware that not everything is perfect, and that's okay with where the
What's
what
that?
the fuck?
An arrow with a message?
Oh. God, I forgot about that's how Sarah does shit. Favors for friends. A message is attached, written in a large flowing hand and bordered with doodles. People say you're special. I want to help, and I can bring everyone. There's a baddie in Valrayo. I hear he wants to hurt you. Have a search for the red thing in the market, the docks, and round the cafe, and maybe you'll meet him first. Bring swords. Friends of Red Jenny. A poor drawing of the locations in the market is attached. Okay. La pomme vies morte. Usually I choose Cass for divine. Liliana sometimes gives a Solas. I know what's best vibe. Yeah, 1000%. Like, it's a very humble choice, in my opinion. She wants to be the bridge for the next divine to make even more progress because she knows it has to start somewhere, but it's not all going to get done at once. Yeah, agreed. The apples nearest the cafe are said to change their taste depending on whether one is walking toward or away from the gallows. And of course they do, for taste is subject to the whims of the heart, and no meal is favored after tears. But dare it anyway, for none know the taste of joy, such as we who do not shy from experience. From our Orlesian heart, by formerly Sister Lodine. Alright, I wanted to read all these, because I find them interesting. The second Lion of Orlais, in respect to Duke Isidore d'Orlesans. Grace of the Empire North. A notice reads, this display reserved for discourse political with attending professors of social matters from the University of Orlais. Note that all vendors of loftable groceries will be closed in the hour beforehand and for 1 half after. The First Lion of Orlais, in respect to Emperor Alphonse Valmont. The Lions of Orlais, a repeating element dedicated to the great defenders, otherwise noted. It is rumored that one is gold, one is bronze and weighted with poison, one is chocolate, and one is watching. As the saying goes, dare we all a thief to test his back, and learn which is most dangerous to try, deny, or lay. In truth, all are lead and leaf. Don't pretend to ride them too long, lest the mind give way. Excerpted and torn from A Disposable Walking Tour of the Capital by Philem, a bard.
I believe that messenger is trying to get our attention.
He can wait. Grace of the Empire East. A plaque reads, "Welcome all before the grace of the Empire. Stage and audience for the use of all, for theater and business, for partnership and proposal, be seen." A notice below reads, "This display reserved for songs traditional by Lord Bramford and his players, cancelled." The messenger can wait just a second. The Fourth Lion of Orlais, in respect to Duke Stefan of Valmontaigne. Montaigne. I can read. Grace of the Empire South. A notice reads, reserved for his strangeness, Sir Sound, and his strategic puppets behind glass. Odd. Okay. The Third Lion of Orlais, in respect to Duke Yvon of Sèvres. I'm glad I can kind of read French, thanks to my sommelier husband. Grace of the Empire West. A notice reads, this display, reserved for presentations of affection as through private and also discounted spirits, presented by Company Misdirect Theatre. Ooh. Difficult time for those who have lost. While I understand concerns for propriety and the general dressing of the bazaar, I must caution that release is needed. Kinky. We are suffering not just ongoing civil conflict, pitting brother against sister, not just outright war, pitting Templar against mage, not just the loss of our most holy and the best of our leaders. We are suffering all three, as the sky is wounded for all to see, and we know of our world, all we know of our world is threatened, along with all we know of the next. With this most grave notation, I ask that the writs of losses and missing remain, that the citizens, however indirectly, be allowed to post their griefs of known dead and the names of hopefully living, and with them their criticisms of how they have been told or not told. For while I have no doubt that we as Orlesians will maintain our utmost composure, there must be release. There must be grief. There must be mourning. If not, if we do not allow this simple expression, we risk a greater outburst. Let our people shed their tears in as reserved a means as necessary. The market will be cleared in due course, but this day, this time, we must let this simple expression stand. Written by Captain Albion, Orlesian Guard, Summer Bazaar. Wow, I actually kind of like that. Ooh, read. Oh god, I don't know how to say this. Miroir de la Mer. I don't know how to say that first word. Revel's Folly. That was cut from Valrio in 849 Blessed. It was the will of the mad Emperor Revel, who demanded... I can't read, oh my god. Who demanded a reflecting pool large enough to draw his vain, deceased mother back across the Vale. Many shops and vendors were evicted to make room for his folly, and several memorials to the heroes of the first four blights were simply toppled. The reservoir supports little in the way of life. As the bottom was lined with lead to increase its reflective properties. Revel intended it for divination, using boats as massive planchettes. But work was not finished until the week of his own death. The waters see little use today, save for lazy or fornication, sojourns by the nobility aboard decorative gondolas. Excerpted and torn from a disposable walking tour of the capital by Philum, a bard.
We should search the area.
Reservoir stocking evaluation. Tremors floating, taste is off, waterbirds die off, restocking failed, fish not fit, do not consume. Favors for friends. Favors for friends. A red handkerchief folded around a key with a small hasty scrawl. Key lifted from drunk swearing about Harold. Don't know what door, I'm out, my debt is paid. The Randy Dowager Quarterly, guys. A waterlogged quarterly missive of suspect virtue. The Randy Dowager welcomes the blooms of spring with the collected Callipygian cuirassiers, being a scandalous representation of Her Majesty's favored, caught in flagrant delectable. Can their uniforms and modesty withstand the assault? The Randy Dowager. Exhibitions for the noble of thought, but spry of step. The lady herself says, hardly a Tethras, but generously arousing if polished cuirass does it for you. It should, and it should. 3 scarves fluttered in shock out of 5. Hardly a Tethras. So Varric does write some spicy shit. I knew it, that Randy Dwarf. The Randy Dwarf is what they should call it. Varric, tell me about your writing, darling. Saucy, saucy minx.
Our Templars left. The Chantry promised they'd defend us.
Yeah, well. What's this one? Emperor Florian. Grand Duke Florian was not supposed to ascend to the Orlesian throne. His elder brother, Emperor Judicael II, had 2 twin sons and thus a very secure line. Florian was free to pursue other interests, none of which revolved around the game. Indeed, the imperial court largely ignored him, and that was how he liked it. All that is recorded of that era is that he married, produced a single daughter, and afterwards showed little interest in her. An outbreak of the 100 Days Cough in 877 Blessed changed his plans. The Discord Q&A starts in 20 minutes. We will wrap it up and join that, don't worry. Both of Judicael's sons perished, as did Florian's daughter. Racked by grief, Judicael lost interest in ruling, turned over all matters pertaining to the rebellion in Ferelden to his advisors, and instead spending his time hunting in the country. When Judicael was thrown from his horse during a fox hunt in 884 Blessed, Florian was suddenly vaulted into the throne. Famously, his response to the Chevaliers delivering the news at his estate is said to be, "This will not do at all." A private and somewhat eccentric man, Florian limited his appearances at court and dealt almost exclusively with members of his own family. He was extremely particular about his habits of dress and grooming, eschewing current fashions for the sake of comfort, and refusing to wear cosmetics or powders of any kind due to an intense dislike of being dirty. Powerful and connected nobles who had served in the cabinet since his father's time were turned away in favour of his younger brother, Reynard, his sister, Melisande, and his cousins. Children were banned from the palace, even the children of servants, with the exceptions of his nephew and nieces, who were tolerated only on the condition that they remain out of the emperor's sight. Regarding suggestions that Florian and his youngest cousin, Megrin, were lovers, the truth is uncertain. If such a relationship existed, it was no doubt kept private due to Florian's aversion to public life and not from any fear of rumours. Such rumours, after all, were likely spread due to the emperor's refusal to sire another child and thus secure his line. Many believed this failing would eventually lead to civil war. The only real evidence of a relationship with Megrin is a loud and very public argument that the two had prior to Megrin's appointment, or exile as he saw it, to the throne of Ferelden. Megrin is said to have called Florian "my darling," and neither man chose to explain the argument later. The predictions of civil war, Duke Reynard Selene, or Selene, depending on how you say it, after a vicious struggle that threatened to consume the empire, from The Emperors of Orlais by brother Harlan Ascari. I just wanted to read that in a British accent. Do you want to live stream it? Yes, most assuredly I do. Ooh, examine. It is said that the apples that grow near the gallows will be bitter by the tongue of a lover who will betray. It is also said, although by different people entirely, that unripened fruit should not be the only consideration when investigating matters of fidelity. The latter are lonely most evenings amongst the harbors of the summer bazaar. What's this? She of the highwaymen repents. Gallows master, hold thy hand, hold it back a while. Callous juror, let me stand, let me bear a smile. I'm not gonna do a song, sorry. Vier.
My maker, know my heart. Take from me a life of sorrow. Comfort is only yours to give. Oh, maker, where is the comfort? Look away. I have broken the chant because it comes from my heart. What have we when our divine is dead and the sky burns?
What do you mean you broke the chant?
Are you also ignorant of the Maker's most basic rites?
Yes.
The chant of light is how we honor the Maker. They are the only words that the faithful should hear from my lips. But I can't. Our divine is dead. Our Templars gone. The Maker's silence is deafening. What hope have we?
Pray to the Maker for strength, not forgiveness.
Have I not tried? Andraste, Maker, show me your light. Take me back in faith. I cannot find it on my own.
This poor dude. Even if I'm not a religious person, I do feel bad for him.
The Templars didn't even... You are the Herald of Andraste, are you?
Damn
not?
it.
I have an invitation for you.
What?
You are the Herald of Andraste, are you not? I have an invitation for you.
Invitation. First Enchanter Vivienne. You are cordially invited to attend my salon, held at the chateau of Duke Bastien de Gislaine. Yours, Vivienne de Fer, First Enchanter of Montsimard, Enchanter to the Imperial Court. Alright then. Hey, who are you? You Gucci? You don't look Gucci. We're just gonna fuck around in Orlais for a little bit until it's time for the live stream.
Move along.
Oh, the Q&A. You don't tell me what to do.
This cannot stand. How can it stand?
This cannot stand. How can it stand? How can you stand and talk like that?
You have it. Of course not.
Le Masque du Lion. We cheered when honored was her might, but many more deserve a thought. For though she was the first a knight, her ken and kind have always fought. From a plaque with the dedication Le Masque du Lion, sponsored by Princess Corinne's first cavalry, for those we stood beside. On its legs, my dude. Yeah. Soldier?
Wonderful. We maintain an Inquisition presence on Commander Cullen's orders. This has been received as you might expect. Same old.
Oh, he's a Scotsman. Fuck me.
At once.
A different, simple script on the back of a stable report, marked with red paint. Thank you, friends, for helping good Lady Karis. Saw those who asked about Harold enter third passage, could not stay to see them exit. Oh my god, she's singing it in French. I didn't know that was a thing. This whole time I didn't know they sang it in French if you were in Orlais. I feel stupid. This is on par with me not knowing that I Am the One was in Elvish in Origins. I had no idea. Hiding from the fight. Okay, anyways. Not of heroes, Mafrath and sacrifice. Andraste, Our Lady, the sword and the fire against Tevinter. Betrayed to the Empire in exchange for a kingdom, Mafrath, now synonymous with treachery. But would Andraste have won? And if not, what would we have lost? Let us look not just at the act, but at the why of it. Yep, you learn something new every day, yeah. As the armies of faith pierced the imperial homeland, It was revealed not as a wave, but as an arrow. And as any hunter will attest, if your aim is not true, there is no returning to the bow. We must consider how much of Our Lady's victory to this point was against true Imperium, and how much was against the echoes of Empire. Andraste the Inspiration may not have considered such, but Mafrath the General fought for homeland, not visions. Was it victory or defeat that his betrayal held at bay? Mafrath made a deal that killed Our Lady. This is fact. And when Andraste died, Mafrath was gifted everything from the southern plains south. How generous and impossible to hold. This must have seemed. Let us look on Mafrath and the legacy he divided among his sons, not with an eye for accusation, but from a tactical consideration. For he must have known that mere rivals had not stopped Tevinter. What if he set about creating peers, and none of this was accident? How then fared Isarath, Evrian, and Verald? Excerpted from A History Not of Heroes, Readings in the Ugly Heart of Change, collected by Philem, a bard.
Do we?
The head of Madame Snappy Snips. Mascot of Le Masque du Lion, named in jest but genuinely respected. The Grand Mam, as she is also called, was the last dragon brought down by Sir Koenig, the previous owner of the cafe. A spirited hunter, Koenig came of age in the years following the sighting that named the era. While others were quick to assume the tales of ancient Navarran dragon hunters must have been exaggerated, he tracked the gradual increase in dragon numbers and size. Koenig believed we had yet to see a true return of the beasts of legend, and that the specimens of his day were young, despite their ferocity. It is a cruel victory, but today we know Sir Koenig to have been correct, even as he may have fallen to his own expertise. He was, years overdue from his last hunt, and for the rest of us, travel-weary. What we thought to be the pinnacle of dragon strength may have been closer to adolescence. The sisters of Madame Snappy Snips may have left their sibling far behind. Excerpted and torn from A Disposable Walking Tour of the Capital by Philem, a bard. Trying to get all of the things. Another thing to read here. This fountain in particular is one of my favorites. The summer home of Messer Glubs. A plaque reads, a seasonal home for the childhood pet of the twin sons of Empress Yvette. The nature of Messer Glubs remains unknown, save that the gift from a Ravanian a gift from a Ravanian ambassador, and he was eventually released to the sea after taking the hand of a sluggish page. So pretty. Okay.
Nick child is a blessing upon his parents and onto the Maker.
I'm a blessing onto everyone around me. The Lover's Alcove. I always thought this was a good spot to make out. Every district has one, at least one, and the question must be, why is a place meant for dalliance declared in such an obvious way? And the answer, of course, is that obviousness is the entirety of the point. When manners and station will not allow impassioned words, such corners are places to be seen, not being seen. Entering with a paramour is as much a declaration as singing out in joy, which one of good standing must never do. The alcove is thus a dignified means of announcing romantic affiliation, either for genuine partnership or to appear as such in order to spare a suitor a refusal. Dignity, of course, requiring that one does not also make use of the darkness for actual physical gratification. This has, of course, never occurred. From Our Orlesian Heart by formerly Sister Laudine. Her Majesty's Convenience. A plaque reads, for Her Majesty's convenience, wood and vines defy the very sun and rain. Ooh, another book. Not of Heroes, The Death of Diversity. What could hold back an empire? Another. What could hold back so defined a people as Tevinter? Another. Let us consider if eldest Isarath was not meant to honor Mafrath, for the father's fate was already condemned by hidden betrayal. It's not Q&A time yet. We've got 10 more minutes. It's fine. Let us consider that Isarath was told to turn from ties to Mafrath, to look forward, not back. What of his actions then? Isarath was granted a land of tribes, of scattered alliance. His answer was the grand unification, which most condemn as arrogance. Sweeping changes in trade, relocations to break local allegiances, all to favor centralized trade and power. Cities were leveled to expand a new capital, a powerful and influential city of a new nation, Val Royeaux of Orlais, and all in the name of not lost Andraste, but of holding back looming Tevinter. Power was united, but cultures less so. Investing everything in the new Orlais stratified the classes, and though it all spread a bitterness that a Ferelden ruled, Isarath avoided the stain of his father, for he was seen as a victim too. But he was still Alamari. What if, dear readers, the final unifying element came not from accident or even the deliberate actions of Isarath, but from a common hatred, and not the common hatred of the day? The sons of Mafrath would succeed in creating a peer for Tevinter, but only at the cost of themselves. Exerted from A History Not of Heroes, Readings in the Ugly Heart of Change, collected by Philum, a bard.
Oh my.
Okay, we're going to save here so that I can have a chance to pee before the actual Q&A starts. We'll exit. And we will save. I am happy we got through, like, an hour and a half of gameplay. It feels like we didn't do a lot today, but that's okay. We'll get there. Okay. It's gonna be in here, I believe. Oh, I am going to be live streaming the Q&A. I am. That is what we are about to do. I'm going to join the stage. Your mic will be muted unless you're invited to speak. You can leave and rejoin anytime without making noise. Oh god. Mute the music. I'm suppressed, which is fine. I've never done one of these before. I'm actually super stoked. Elisa, would you mind explaining to me how exactly this works? Because I've never been a part of this before. I'm gonna share my screen. I'm gonna share specifically my Discord stream. I'm just getting everything organized because there's certain things I don't want you guys seeing on my computer. Okay, so I'm in here. I'm going to go to full screen. Yeah, you can mute the music, my dude. Just mute the music. What I'm gonna do is have this on my live game, but instead of being game, let me adjust. Oh god, I can hear my brain again. I'm gonna add in a new source and do screen capture. Okay, so you guys can see. And I'm going to do it like this. So you can see as much as possible. I've never done one of these before. I don't even know how this shows up. Is it like we're going to hear people talking about it? Is that what happens? Oh, and there's a chat on the right. Okay, so we're going to hear people talking about it. We'll be able to see the chat on the side here. So this starts in about 5 minutes. I'm going to take a quick second. I'm going to go grab some fresh water and a snack because I have not eaten, and pee. And I'm going to do it as fast as fucking possible. Allow me to really quickly send a tweet to everyone saying I'm live streaming. That's Tumblr, not Twitter. I'm not used to the whole X thing yet. I am live streaming the Discord Q and A if anyone wants to watch that doesn't have Discord. Okay, I'm gonna go take the fastest piss of my life. Just be good. Please don't start early. My God. Ignore me, I'm not here yet. I was grabbing myself a snack and my water. My God, I have 2 minutes. Oh my gosh, okay. I've never peed that fast in my life. The music is the true Dragon Age vibe. I just saw that pop up in the chat. Let's hear it again. Why does it remind me of The Sims? I hate it. Elisa, would you mind telling everyone in our Discord that I am live streaming this? In case, like, Ketu or anyone wants to watch. It's clown aesthetic. It is, because we're clowns, and they're aware. Please say something about Varric. Anything. Just something. I'm on it, boss. Thank you. I salute you, my bestie. We're gonna keep the music on. And yes, my snack is straight up just fucking crackers. Because I have nothing else simple to eat right now. It's fine. Oh!
Hello, everyone.
Let's go.
We're going to be joined by John and Corinne here in a sec, just waiting for them to get on.
Oh my god, there's John Epler.
Hey, John. Hey, Corinne. Thanks for
Hello.
joining today.
Thank you for having us. It's a pleasure.
It's so good to see so many people. I see some from
On the Discord server. Last time we were really happy with the way it turned out and how everyone seemed to really enjoy it. So we're back again. Thank you for submitting your questions on the Ask BioWare channel. I am going to start and kick that off in just a second. But for those of you who might be new here, I'm the community manager, and I'm going to let Corinne and John introduce themselves as well.
Hey y'all, I'm Corinne Bush, game director on Dragon Age: The Veilguard. I I just generally help people on the team do cool things and create this world.
Yay!
And I'm John Epler, the creative director on Dragon Age: The Veilguard, and Bryn picked probably the best way to describe what I do too, so I'm just going to steal that. There to make sure the team is enabled to do their best work, and I'm super excited to share all this with you.
Awesome. Yeah, before we start, I also want to give a quick heads up. You might have seen it in announcements, but there are a couple of questions in here that we have answers to that we would consider minor spoilers.
Okay.
I'll give a heads up before that minor spoiler answer is given, or even the question is read. So you can go, grab some water, or, go outside for a second, or just do anything to decide if you want to listen to the answer or not. But I promise these spoilers are, we'll call them out before we say anything.
That is kind of the coolest part of this session. We're getting closer to launch now, so I think we can go a little bit deeper on some of the questions this time.
Yes, no, this is so exciting. Okay, are you guys ready?
Yes, I am.
Let's
do it.
I'm
Let's
so
start
excited.
with a fun one. Do all Evanurus hate tea? Does Gillyflower exclusively drink haunted bog water?
All right, that is a fun one. It's funny because I think Solas is the only one of the elven gods that actually really has a tremendous aversion to tea. That said, we don't really get too into what they drink. I would say, though, knowing what I know about Algernon and Gillidain, I think Algernon probably drinks a combination of gas station coffee and the Thetis equivalent of an energy drink at all times. He's got a big thermos with him. Whereas Gillidain is all about the herbal concoctions that are supposed to be really good for your gut health, things like that. She really takes care of herself, so...
John, I think you just described you, and then interesting.
Hurtful, Corinne. Accurate but hurtful.
Oh my god, I'm so happy.
Okay, next one. So we know that we can hug a son, but will we be able to hug any of our companions?
Oh!
So you can't hug your companions at all times. There's not an option to just walk up and give them a hug. They've got their boundaries, they've got their preferences, but there are opportunities and conversations and dialogue and scenes where you will. A companion may ask you for a hug because they're having a rough time, and you are able to give it to them.
And
that's fair.
Will there be a lot of politicking involved? And by politicking, they mean quests like Wicked Eyes and Wicked Hearts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, there's not going to be a quest quite like the Halam Sharal Ball. I mean, that was very specific to the Inquisitor. The Inquisitor was trying to gain favor with a bunch of different factions. They were trying to form an army. Rook's struggle and Rook's, honestly, challenge is much more immediate and visceral. That said, it's Dragon Age. It would be Dragon Age with the word politics. You'll have influence on the things that are happening in the fate of nations, are happening around the world. And Rook, I mean, throughout the game, across this adventure, Rook does become a fairly important figure. So it's natural that you'll have some influence and some involvement with the affairs of the different factions and nations.
Gotcha. So this next question comes from Onomatopoeia. I know this has been asked before, but they didn't see an answer for it. Is there a way to toggle off nudity in sex scenes?
I've seen that a bunch.
Yeah, let me take this one. It's so funny, John. You get the fun questions. I get the thirsty nudity questions. I'm here for it. So let me answer and maybe elaborate. So there is a toggle for on and off nudity. That is one of the settings we have, and we'll be going deeper into settings and accessibility and things like that as we get a little bit closer to launch. But let me also expand on this. So when you're in Character Creator, you'll actually be able to select what underclothes your Rook wears and whether that exposes your chest or your breast. So by default, nudity is on. Chest or breast, that is up to you by your underclothing that you select, particularly as you get into, say, romance scenes. But at any point, you can toggle the setting to be non-nudity, and it will overwrite your undergarments.
Gotcha.
I like that.
This question comes from Dark Goddess Eris. What are the companions' ages? That was a question that actually came up a bunch, so I'm excited for somebody to be able to answer this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can take this one. So the companions
Life,
in the
yeah.
Veilguard range anywhere from kind of early mid-20s, with Tosh at the youngest, all the way up to Emmerich, who is in his early 50s. The rest of the companions tend to be in their late 20s, early 30s. Again, though, they're all experts in their field. They're all people who have been through a lot. So even the ones that are at the younger end of the age spectrum, their experience, they've been through a tremendous amount by this point, by the time you meet them. So, so I mean, I guess
Early
Tosh
50s,
is the
that's not
closest to
bad.
Sarah at early 20s, but they're all in kind of that age range, so.
Tasha's baby.
This next question I'll pitch to Corinne. How linear is the quest experience? Are there going to be side quests that you can stumble upon and resolve within areas, or are you locked into a golden path?
This is such a good one. Yeah, a lot of people have been asking about this, so thank you to whoever submitted it. So the content in the game is a mix of directed, kind of like story quest missions, and then explorable content, or you might say optional content. I don't even like calling it side content because it's a lot of fun. It's really good content. So to give you an idea, a lot of the main story quests or critical path missions, if we want to call it that, they're very highly crafted. They're more linear than some of the other parts of the game because we feel that's how we can tell the best stories, give you a very intentionally paced experience, you know, with lulls and climaxes, so it really hits you. But that's only part of it. You're also going to fully explore a bunch of the locations in the Veilguard. So, like, let me just lay a few on you. Arlethan Forest, Hosberg Wetlands, those are probably two of the biggest ones. The Crossroads. Now, we've seen Crossroads before in Trespasser, but this isn't necessarily the Crossroads as you remember it.
Oh.
So you'll be able to explore this this part of the Crossroads. And as you're there, you're absolutely going to be discovering new areas, new quests, mysteries, and new challenges.
Ooh.
So exploration in the game is absolutely about player agency in these larger, less linear levels. And it's really an important part of the overall experience and core to our design. Now, as a player, and I'm just speaking for me personally, I'm the kind of player that wants to 100% every area. I want to go find all the optional quests, all the treasures. I want to see that big 100% completed on my map. That's going to take you quite a bit of time. So,
I'm so excited.
I think that's a great answer. Thanks, Corinne. This next one is from a user named Benedictus. Will we ever get the Venatori gear?
Oh. I would love to wear the Venatori.
Yeah, I can take that one as well. Venatori gear. So like I'm assuming what we mean is to like wear on Rook or our companions. Gosh, y'all, I'm gonna be honest. We really, really tried on that one. Hopefully you've seen in the videos our cloth sim.
I'm asking an important question. What is it?
Quite beautiful.
What's the question, Elisa?
The Venatori gear, generally we couldn't make that work to the quality we'd expect within combat. So no, you can't get most of the Venatori gear. But I will say there is a unique Venatori themed helmet. I don't want to spoil what that is exactly, but so you can get a helmet. It is unique. It's pretty interesting and ties into some of the events that can happen in the game, but I'm just gonna leave it there.
Gotcha. So now we're getting into our first real minor spoiler question. So consider yourself warned. Do whatever you need to do, either listen or don't, for the next, like, I don't know, minute. So this question is from Kala. Will there be any romanceable NPCs outside of the companions?
Yes.
I'll take this one. So no, not this time. This time romances for Rook are strictly within the companions. We wanted to really focus on those relationships and make sure that they were as developed and as deep as we could make them. And yet, honestly, and part of it, the other side of it is, Harding was a great example in DAI. That was a character that, as we were building the game, it really stuck out to us. This is a character that actually, you see a lot, you build this kind of very specific rapport with, and the writer, Cheryl, wanted to create that light romance with Harding. None of the characters in the Veilguard really jumped out to us in that same way as this is a character we really want to build a relationship with for Rook. But again, really focusing down on making sure the companion romances were as deep and meaningful as we can make them.
Fuck you. No.
And this question is just for fun, so we're past a spoiler. We'll get back into other spoilers in a bit. But this one's just for fun. We have so many cute, silly bird videos on the internet. Lucanus's ninth dagger, by the way, says that birds are their favorite animal. If you could just snap your fingers and a bird Easter egg would be added for Asan, what would it be?
Oh, that's a good question. So actually, I'm going to cheat because I'm trying to think of bird memes or bird videos specifically, and I'm having a hard time. But the thing about griffins is they're half bird and also half lion. So I'm going to go with the cat meme. Say my favorite meme, and this is one that still brings me joy years after it came out, is the video of the cat grooving to the guy playing Finnish polka on the drum. Again, years old. That's one of my favorite videos on the internet. So, if we're going to give a song any kind of Easter egg, it'd be that one.
My heart is very upset for a moment.
Put me on the spot here, but the only thing I can picture in my head, y'all remember that video a few years back?
They're talking about
the
memes
kid unleashes
in relation
the
to
rabbit
Asan,
into the field, and
griffin.
then immediately that hawk comes down and snatches it up.
Yes.
Don't judge me, y'all. Don't judge me. But that's where my head goes. The song's just getting
I love
a
that.
treat.
That's a great answer, Corinne. Fantastic.
Yo, I'm just so
this
upset
next
right
one
now.
is from a user named Ash. So Tosh breathes fire. Lucanus has wings. Harding is a dwarf who has magic. A lot of our companions have some strange abilities. Is this because the veil is compromised?
Oh, I'd say partially, yeah. We've talked before about how over the course of the time since Dragon Age Inquisition, it started at the end of Trespasser. The Veil's not in great shape. Corypheus already did a number on it. And Solas has very clearly, as you saw in the comic preview, not been making things better in the intervening time. So there is to some degree, I'll use Balara as an example. Balara is someone who's seeing these artifacts turn on and being able to interface with them because there's all this magic that's coming back to the world through the Torn Veil. Other characters, though, you are recruiting people to stop the end of the world. You're recruiting extraordinary people. They're going to have extraordinary abilities. And, someone like Davrin, a lot of his abilities are focused around Asan and the fact that he's got this partnership, this almost, familial bond with Asan as Griffin. So,
Can we get some Asans in the chat?
I think I'm seeing a lot of Asans in the chat, so I think we're well covered there.
All right, this next one is for both of you, and I will say another quick little minor spoiler warning, depending on the way that either of you might want to answer this question. This is, of all the companions, who is the team's favorite, and what companion was the most difficult to design?
I'm gonna cheat. I wrote Balara, so I'm definitely not gonna say the companion wrote because that would be weird. But I will say I love the companion interaction, so I'm gonna go with two of my favorite relationships that Balara has within the team, friendships that she has within the team. So Balara and Lucanus start off as two characters who feel like they're from completely different worlds. Their experience growing up was very different, where they live, what they do. And over the course of the game, they kind of build this friendship over all these things that, despite, again, very different upbringings, they have a lot of things in common. They're both the characters who just believe family is deeply important, and that shows up in a lot of their interactions.
Believes family is
the
important.
way they talk to each other, they interact with each other, both within the lighthouse, but also out in the field. The other one, and this was one that came up organically as we were building the game, is Nev and Balara, and they, Balara is a character who, despite being out in Arlethan, is very big on stories, very big on, she gets all the newspapers from Tevinter, and she's kind of learned who Nev is through that, and they build this very sisterly relationship that I love, and that over the course of the game, we started out without this kind of as the intention. we started finding all these places that this can show up, and it turned into, again, one of my favorite friendships that exist between the companions. So.
That was such a good answer. Yeah, I think I might cheat as well, John, because first of all, I don't want to speak on behalf of the entire team. So I'm going to give you my two faves, if that's all right. And I feel like you already know me on this. Every time we have a chance to talk about Tosh and Emmerich, I'm right there for it. I'd say they're probably my two favorites. But here's the thing, y'all. Here's why I love them so much. When you're out in the field, like exploring or on missions with them,
oh my god,
their
Emmerich
banter
in the
is so
chat.
good because they do not see eye to eye on necromancy, like at all. And it's really funny. It's really delightful. I love seeing how it evolves in time. So, like, look, if you wanted a recommendation from me on like banter in the field, you've got to hear Tosh and Emmerich.
Okay. They were not going to be on my list,
Most
but I'll
difficult
try
to
it.
design. Let's touch on that really quickly. So I'm going to answer, but I don't want to say that like we put more effort into one versus another. But I would say the most challenging was probably Harding, just because you've probably seen, if you saw some of the teaser footage, the pre-release trailer, we have teased some strange new powers for Harding. And when we do that, we have to figure out how that layers into her combat kit. And when we onboard that, and yeah, it was an interesting challenge. It was a really fun one.
Awesome.
Cool. I'm taking notes as we
Backing
go.
away from spoilers for a quick second, I'm going to ask this question to Corinne. With only 2 companions per party, as a Nightmare Mode player, how can we balance not having a warrior in the team to tank? Will higher difficulty players be forced to bring Davrin or Tosh for a melee instead of bringing the characters that we want?
Oh, super good. I was hoping this would come up, especially after we released the combat deep dive for warrior trailer. Hopefully y'all enjoyed that. So let me start by telling you what's happening under the hood. Well, first of all, I'm not going to bury the lead. You're not going to have to bring a tank if you don't want to. But let me first tell you what's happening under the hood. This is going to be kind of high level. Behind the scenes, when you walk into an enemy encounter, we generally know how much pressure, or you could say intensity or aggression, we want to be putting on Rook to maintain that satisfying moment-to-moment experience. So, to give you an idea of some of the levers we have for each encounter, that is the number of enemies that could be specifically focused on you versus your companions, how many enemies can be attacking at once, and even when you have multiple enemies coming at Rook, we have a ticketing system, and what that means is each enemy basically knows when it is allowed to attack or not. So I tell you all that because basically when we're looking at the different types of classes and team compositions, those levers exist underneath the hood so that we give you the most autonomy and flexibility, but also maintain that pressure, that engagement for you, the player.
I've
so
never
a couple
done
of other
Nightmare
things
Mode,
on that.
but
Now
that makes
now that
sense.
you kind of get a sense of like what's happening under the hood, it is absolutely beneficial, but not required, to have one of each class in your party.
Okay.
We did go into this with the goal of giving players more flexibility than perhaps we've seen in past entries. It's just a different approach. What we know is that players tend to get very attached to certain characters. If you've got your favorites, you oftentimes want to bring them with you. Or if you're romancing a character, sometimes it's a feel bad to feel like you have to leave them behind because maybe they're the same class as you. So the whole game is built and balanced around flexibility and giving you the agency. So you can be successful, you can mix it up, but you got to plan for it. So what do I mean by that? If you're not using teamwork, if you're not planning for your party composition, for those synergies, it's
That makes
definitely
sense.
not going to end super well, right? Like I've done no tank runs. but it takes some foresight in the strategy here. So I'll give you an example if you don't mind. I think I've been pretty out there that my favorite class and specialization right now, could change tomorrow, is the Rogue Veil Ranger specialization. And this is very much a ranged archery-based specialization.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to keep enemies at ranged because I want to get those well-aimed critical hits, right? If those enemies are right up on top of me, I'm not going to be able to do that.
Right.
So if I don't have a tank in my party, a couple of the tools that I turn to, and I have done this, in fact, my last playthrough I did this quite a bit, I might bring Balara and use her Galvanic Tear, which pulls all the enemies towards like this really cool looking gravity well and gets them off of me. I might instead use Nev's Time Slow. So the cool thing about this is it slows time for everything in the world except for you and your team, right? So I'm running away, I'm doing a heavy draw, getting those headshots, or making other tactical decisions. I could also turn to my rune loadout. Hopefully y'all saw runes in the warrior combat deep dive. That's an important part, especially if you're playing on nightmare mode. The strategic and tactical options that gives you.
Oh, I have it definitely so I can hear you now. I forgot I could have both. I think
everyone may have saw the rune where you're doing basically an AoE freeze and freezing everything in place.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
I know
kind
you
of
called me
a
Bordy on
answer.
purpose.
I'm sorry, it's complicated, but point is
enchantment.
I think you're going to have more flexibility.
Oh yeah, the runes, enchantment,
crafting and your synergies. But it's going to depend on the strategy and composition that you feel works best for you and your own preferences. And then you did mention Nightmare. Let me just finish with
Why does Lucana sleep in the storage room closet?
But in our own Nightmare playthroughs, we actually find that the most challenging aspect
Someone deleted it. No.
Isn't necessarily aggro management, but making sure
please don't tag staff.
on all
Fair.
the various elemental damage types. So
ask him about the cheese room.
For anyone planning to go into Nightmare, plan well.
Staying on the topic of combat, it was noticed during the high-level combat videos that weapons and armor seem to be tied to different factions. Are there bonuses or something similar involved if Rook is a Grey Warden while using Grey Warden equipment? Are these removed if a Shadow Dragon Rook is using Grey Warden equipment?
Oh, interesting. You know, everyone went deep on that gameplay video. Hey, I'm glad you noticed that. Yeah, so to answer this, you're going to be working really closely with the factions in the game, right? Like the threat you're up against is a world-ending threat, so you're going to interact with each of these factions.
Right.
So that means you're going to get a lot of the gear that faction tends to use. And especially the stronger you help them become, the more gear you'll have available from that faction. So when you see a piece of gear that has like the Veil Jumper icon on it, that signifies that it is aligned with that faction. But you can use it regardless of if that is your faction backstory or not. All it means is that, you know, if I want to maybe improve it or get more gear in that vein or that looks similar, I can see it's from the Veil Jumpers. I'm going to go back to the Veil Jumper Quartermaster, and that's where I will find more items of that type or upgrade possibilities. But it also leans into the thematic identity. So, you know, I think in that video we were using the transmog system, but if I'm using a Veil Jumper gear, like an armor, it's going to look like it was crafted by the Veil Jumpers, and it's going to lean into the mechanical
Sexy
things
Pirate
of the
Lord
Veil
of Fortune
Jumpers
outfit
as
is all I ask. Yes.
which,
Isabella outfit.
One
Gimme.
of those themes tends to be lightning damage. Now,
tinting.
I will also say, and this is a little specific, but occasionally you will find gear or even like skill nodes
I want to be a little
that will
baddie, same.
occasionally be empowered. They'll get stronger relative to your strength with that given faction. So like if you find a piece of gear that's really core to your build and it strengthens the stronger the Veil Jumpers are, like that gives you a pretty good signifier that maybe that's a faction you want to focus on.
Okay, that makes sense. Hello? John? John?
Katie, I don't know if you're still there.
Yeah.
Did we lose you?
Uh-oh.
Oh.
We may have lost Katie, y'all.
We can start just,
Uh-oh,
Yeah.
John.
Why don't I do have the list of questions here, so why don't I ask the next one until
Anarchy!
Katie comes back. I
Yeah!
hope everything's okay on your side, Katie. All right. Next question I see. The evoker description on the blog post highlights ice-based magic. Does that mean we will not be able to have lightning and fire-themed playstyles as the evoker? No, absolutely not. The evoker can lean into all of the elements.
Let's get an 07 in the chat for poor Katie.
In fact, all mages can to a degree. You probably have seen the skill trees. You're gonna pick up abilities, perks, traits of all elemental types and powering up those elements. So just because you're an evoker doesn't mean you're
She crossed over. Oh god.
spells.
Katie is with
What I
Elio.
will say is if you're heading towards that specialization, you're going to pass through the section of the skill tree where you're more easily going to be able to naturally pick up those ice spells, right? So it might lean towards ice, but you can expand it. The name of the game is agency here.
I'm getting laughs.
Rin, why don't I ask you the question so we can still kind of do a Q&A thing?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Corinne, can I set the gear to look however I want without losing stats? And that is a question from Yo Call Me Rob.
All right. Well, y'all know fashion's the true end game.
Yes.
So, we did confirm.
Katie is trapped in Lucanus' storage room closet.
Time going a little more in depth for y'all, so that we're getting new information. So yeah, if anyone's not aware, transmog basically is I have a piece of gear, but I apply a appearance to it that makes it look like something else that I like better, so I can be fabulous.
Fabulous!
So how this is going to work is you're of course going to find gear as you adventure through the world, and you can equip that. But any piece of gear you find is also going to unlock the appearance for that gear. So you might find something that you really like, and you want to look that way, and then you replace it. Anything you've already acquired, you can apply the appearance to whatever gear you want. Additionally, and this is one of my favorite parts, is you'll also find some appearance-only cosmetics that are specifically used just for transmog. So sometimes these are some of the fancier,
I love that.
More niche pieces of gear. Maybe you end up looking like a training dummy, for instance.
So excited.
So you'll get these appearance datas from opening treasure chests, exploring the world, and more frequently from vendors. So look, if you're in it for fashion, check out those vendor inventories because they got you. I would also say that you can transmog your casual wear. So field wear and casual wear, fully transmoggable. If you want to be plate mail while you're hanging around the lighthouse as a mage, more power to
Hofit,
you.
let's go. Yeah, buddy.
And then if I were just to give you a practical example of this, like on the Blood Dragon armor, the pre-order bonus, those are cosmetics. Those are just appearance datas, right? So they're effectively evergreen. You can use them anytime you like without compromising your stuff.
I will say that I don't think I've spent as much time in any other menu other than transmog, because as Corinne mentioned at the beginning of this, fashion is the true endgame. So, Katie, have we got you back yet?
Am I back? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're back.
Katie, we did our best, Katie, but I don't think we were very...
No, I think you both did a great job. It was one of those weird situations where Discord forced quit, but I could still hear everything everyone was saying.
Oh, weird.
I don't really know what that was about.
I just assumed you didn't like my answer.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think how to
rage
ask a
quit,
specific
actually,
question.
Corinne, and it was all your fault. No, thank you for taking over while I was figuring that out. There's a non-zero chance that happens again, so just keep an eye out.
We'll keep it rolling. Don't worry, we got you.
Thank you. So I'll just pick it up from the next question. the latest video. Wow, I can't even talk anymore.
Yeah.
The latest video series mentioned how each companion can set up or detonate specific combos. Are those always set in stone, or would we get opportunities to change it up through the skill trees or otherwise?
Cool. I eat up these really specific combat questions. So first, let me give you an overview of how the primer-detonator relationship works between the classes. Like, this is very nitty-gritty, y'all. If this is your jam, get your pencils out. So here's the overview. Mages, and this is true of companions and rogue. Mages apply weakened and overwhelmed debuffs. And those are two of the debuffs we call primers. Mages detonate the sundered debuff. Then if we go to rogues apply weakened and sundered debuffs, and rogues detonate overwhelmed. Warriors apply sundered and overwhelmed, and warriors detonate weakened. So you can see kind of the interesting rock, paper, scissors relationship there. And when I talk about it is beneficial to bring one of each class, it's just the inherent nature of that rock, paper, scissors relationship that I'm really thinking of.
That was too much information at once. I'm confused.
Question, that is just the baseline. Like, that's the default if you don't modify it. Throughout the game, you will find opportunities, whether it's from gear, skill tree nodes, even runes, that allow you to break this paradigm.
I'm confused.
So when it comes to like your companion
this
builds,
is like
again,
the
it all
Genshin
comes
Impact
down to
stuff.
the abilities you choose, what gear you're equipping them with, how you allocate your skill points. Yeah, does that answer the question? There's quite a bit of flexibility, but there is a baseline paradigm as well.
Yeah, I think that answers the question. Let's see. The next one is, will we see a bit more of the lighthouse before release, as well as non-combat gameplay?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll keep it brief here because we are going to be talking more about exploration in the lighthouse next month. So forgive me, but I'll say stay tuned on that one.
All right.
Yeah, I agree.
Then
this is confusing.
Next one, I believe, is a little bit of a spoiler. I know that some people can't hear me still for some reason. If you can't, tell folks to quit Discord and rejoin it.
Okay, minor spoiler, y'all. If you can't hear Katie, this one's a minor spoiler.
Thanks, Corinne. This one is, will we be able to give gifts to our companions, either generic or characters or / plot specific?
Yeah, you sure can. I actually want to shout out one of our lovely designers, Dusty. This was a passion project from him. He was advocating for this.
Oh my god.
So the cool thing about this is it's not like a transactional thing, like where I'm gonna go farm a bunch of like nonsensical items and just like mechanically turn them over.
It's like
out
Origins.
In the world, and they're at various
Go Dusty.
locations, so you kind of stumble upon them. You can buy a gift that is very personal to any one of the companions, and then you turn that in to them, you give it to them, they have a nice acknowledgement, and then...
At least I see you in the chat.
I think that's just, like, so sweet about it. We've talked about how the companion rooms evolve over time, but if you go and get them one of these, like, very personalized gifts, they'll display it in their room. Like, it doesn't go into some stats void. It's
really?
actually on display.
I love that.
Oh my god!
This next question, I'll pitch it to John. Some of our companions, like Nev, Emmerich, and Lucanus, have been in past short stories and comics, and there's also a passing resemblance to some of the old concept art from years ago.
Your gifts.
What is the process like for making a character at some point, and then planning to bring them back as a companion, or were they always written or designed and intended to be companions?
All right, that's a great question, and it's actually one I'm going to go a little deep on. So, as we build a game, as we start writing companions, we see how they fit in the story, see how they fit together. Some characters have been around, and some character concepts have been around for quite some time. Others come in a little bit later in development as we realize we have a gap, something in the story that we need someone who makes sense to fill that gap, to be that character. But part of it's also just, as the writers, we want to make sure that the people who are writing these companions are passionate and they're writing a character they want to write. We don't want to just say, we need X, Y, and Z, write a companion to fill these gaps. But it'll be, hey, in the story, it really doesn't make sense that we don't have somebody doing X. Is there a character we can build for that? And, so, you'll see a whole concept art, and a lot of those concepts, a lot of those, the kind of the core of those characters remains intact. We may have changed details of them. We may have decided, okay, they were going to be X, but now Y makes a little bit more sense. Or as a writer, I'm a little bit more interested in Y, and what this particular concept speaks to me more. Mm-hmm. In terms of comics, short stories and such, generally speaking, and this isn't universal, but generally speaking, writers are writing these short stories. In particular, it's a volunteer. We ask the team, like, hey, we've got the short story anthology, who wants to write something for it? So writers are going to pick characters that they're passionate about, and in those cases, they tend to be their companions. So, for example, Nev, as mentioned, Nev, Emmerich, Lucanus have all shown up. Those were written by people who were passionate about those characters, and we had already intended for them to be companions. Other characters, though, and Harding is an excellent example. We create a character to fill a role. In the case of Harding, she was in Inquisition, largely to be there to kind of connect those exploration spaces together and give you a sense of the Inquisition's presence. And then we saw the fan reaction, but beyond that, Cheryl really wanted to explore Harding's arc more deeply. So
we're feral right
she
now.
got promoted to be a companion as well. So
yeah,
it's an organic process, and again, it comes down to, we want to make sure that the people who are building these characters, not just the writers, but also the artists, the cinematic designers, the editors, the gameplay people are excited to build these characters. And and actually, I'm going to go a little bit side topic on that. Balar was a great example where we knew what Balar needed to be in the story, but gameplay-wise, it took a bit to kind of land on how her gameplay and her character arc and who she was melded together. Krins talked earlier about the companions and how they show up in gameplay. A really big thing for us on this project is making sure that the gameplay reflects the characters, their arc, and their personality as much as possible. So
I love how much care they put into the characters.
It depends, but yeah, generally if they show up, especially in something like
love
a
it so
story,
much.
We've already intended for them to be a companion, because those are the characters that people.
Oh, does that mean we're going to get to meet Elio and Nadia if they live?
Apart from wanting to try different classes, what are the main incentives for multiple playthroughs? Now that stuff seems more overall,
will Varric still be loyal to Bianca?
All in a single playthrough.
Never.
Are there choices presented that are impactful, that wildly different outcomes will come from? Wow. Let me start that one again. I think it's just I'm reading it straight off the sheet.
No worries.
I'll start from the top. Apart from wanting to try different classes, what are the main incentives for multiple playthroughs now that stuff seems more universal to be attempted all in a single playthrough? Are there choices that are impactful and wildly different in different outcomes and decision paths?
So there's a few incentives. One of which is, the most basic is the three classes from a gameplay perspective do play differently, and it's funny, Corinne was talking about how
I don't need to relive that trauma,
Ranger, but that might change. Mine literally changes every time I start a new playthrough. I develop a new favorite class, which is the class I'm currently playing. But more generally, there are choices in the game. There are different outcomes. There's content that you will see or won't see based on choices you make.
When will you wear wigs?
The critical path of the game, but also with the followers themselves. So, you're not going to see everything in a single playthrough. You're not even going to see everything.
Yeah, how many endings? That's what I want to know.
But, you want to see how your choices have different outcomes. That's the best way to do it.
This question is, I understand mages having very magical looking moves, but why do rogues and warriors also have very magical looking moves? Was making every class look like a mage a purposeful choice?
Cool. So, it's a multi-part answer, but yes, everything we've done has been with intention towards supporting the overall player experience. So I guess the first place I'd go to answer this is from a game tuning and balance perspective. We knew that supporting multiple damage types like physical, fire, electric, etc., that was going to be an important factor in the strategic depth of the combat system. particularly as it leans into builds and the strategies you use to take on various enemies. It's not the extent of it, but it's an important part of it. So that meant that making sure the various classes in some capacity have access to some or all of these damage types. And that then means that we need to make them read visually as such on the battlefield. So the first part is about making sure you have those strategic options on the battlefield. But there is more to it than that, I'd say. We also found, and I've heard this from a lot of you, that some of our magical hybrid classes have been amongst the favorites. My goodness, the discourse around Knight Enchanter. So this felt like a very thematic way for us to support that goal, if that makes sense. The goal of game balance, but also leaning into the things that seem to resonate the most. If I was to just focus on the warriors out there for a minute, though, because we just released the warrior deep dive. We've actually long had a goal within the team of making them more visually interesting and impactful. We know, and I've heard from a bunch of you, that warrior, tends not to be people's first choice, but hey, any of the warrior fans out there, big props to you, because I love them too. So this was like our chance, really, to show what a warrior can do, to make them feel like they have a presence on the battlefield that could be as interesting as some of the other classes. But I will say, I absolutely recognize that there are those of you that, like, if you're playing a melee class, you want a pure, like, physical-based warrior aesthetic, maybe something that's a little more grounded. You can generally make a build that's more physical focused if that's more your taste.
I hate warriors. Oof.
In addition to playing the first 3 games, what comic books or novels do you recommend reading before playing the Veil card?
That's a good question.
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, generally speaking, one of the things we wanted to make sure with the Veilguard was that players could get into the story, understand what was going on, without needing to, get into the ancillary material. I love the comics, I love the novels, I love the short stories, but they are intended to be kind of side content. One of the things that we hear loud and clear is sometimes folks don't really want that to feel like, I need to have read this, I need to have seen this comic, I need to watch the show for it to make sense.
And not everyone can afford it, right?
I'd say The Missing, the most recent comic series, is a very clear lead up to the beginning.
I'm gonna buy it this week.
The Veilguard. It's setting up events. It's kind of setting up, Varric and Harding's search for Solas. It sets up some of the characters that you'll see in the game.
Varric.
Tevinter Nights is another one. We mentioned earlier that some of the companions show up there. Beyond just the companions, there's some thematic stuff that comes out of that as well. Some things that we kind of wanted to set up when we wrote those short stories as an idea of, like, giving you an idea of what the world state is, how things have changed over time.
Right.
And then I'd say, more very recently, yesterday, we have the podcast, Vows and Vengeance, which is intended to give you a taste of the companions and also, again, talk about the world state of
that one's kind of obvious.
Point, giving you kind of the lead up to weeks before the events of the Veilguard, so you do have that sense.
So it does take place weeks before.
What's going on? Who are these people? And how, when I first meet them in the Veilguard, you kind of have an idea who they are. Again, though, this is all stuff that I think enhances the experience, but it's not required. There's never going to be. We're never going to put you in a situation where a character shows up and everyone makes a big deal out of it, and you're sitting there wondering, like, who is this person? Because they were introduced in other media. We always want to make sure that you understand. The only thing you need to have done to understand the Veilguard is play the Veilguard.
You're getting so many eggplants.
Awesome. Also, yes, Vows and Vengeance is so good. So definitely, give it a chance. The first episode is out now. I think a lot of people in the Vows and Vengeance Discord server or Discord channel are really stoked on it.
Yes.
This next question, will we be able to adjust how much damage the companions do in the accessibility settings?
Yeah.
Yeah, so our customized difficulty and accessibility settings as well, they're more focused on how you, the player, experience the game while in control of Rook. So things like enemy health, timing, things of that nature. So not in the settings, no, but if you really want to be that kind of player that wants to amp up your companions, like have them do a greater share of the overall damage, there's a number of ways to accomplish this.
Thank you, Navination Gaming. Thanks for following. I hope you're enjoying the stream.
Companions do more damage. And then there's some unique buffs we support, like Rally Party. So you as Rook can trigger this surge in your companion's ability. So again, we know how diverse the motivations are within the player base. So
there's so many different types of players out there.
So now we're getting back into some spoilers territory.
Gimme.
There's minor spoilers, but you know, definitely take heed for the next couple of minutes if you don't want to hear them.
I'm ready.
Okay,
my body's ready.
Will we finally meet Maevaris, Talani, and Tevinter?
Oh my goodness, y'all. Alright, you got the spoiler warning, so when I talk about cameos and appearances, don't say I didn't warn you. Hey, this one's very near and dear to my heart as a trans woman myself. I'm pretty open about that. Yeah. Our dear May.
Let's fucking go!
Happy to confirm it, and I am, every time I see her, I absolutely freak out. What I'm not going to tell you, though, is what role or capacity she plays.
That's fine, I just want to know if she's going to be there.
Maevaris Talani.
Wait, guys, what if we have to tell her Varric's dead?
I am living for chat right now. Like, I try not to look at it too much during these because it'll distract me, but I'm living for chat right now. This next one is also a minor spoiler. Will we find out what happened to Lucanus's parents for his grandmother to have had charge of him?
Yeah, so I mean, Lucanus is an Antivan Crow. If you know anything about the Antivan Crows, you know that they are, well, assassins. And assassins tend to have fairly deadly politics, and the daggers are a lot more literal than you would see somewhere like Orlais, so that's all I'm gonna say. You'll find out at some point for sure.
We're doing a great job at not giving too much away. Do we get any jealousy dialogues from any of the companions if you switch up your romance plans partway through? Are any of the romances hard locked at any point?
Yeah, so you can, I mean, there is an opportunity, or there's a place in a romance where you essentially commit to it being exclusive. And we really wanted to make sure that, A, we were very upfront about the fact that you are committing to an exclusive romance at that point. And before that, it is portrayed as you're flirting, you're kind of, you know, figuring out each other. So there's no jealousy dialogues, but there are places where you commit. And we wanted to be very clear to fans. There's also going to be a place, because I think I'm reading this right, where there's a point in the story where if you haven't committed, if you haven't said like, yeah, let's you know, I'm up for this, let's do this, where you no longer have that opportunity. We're very clear about what that point is, because again, we don't want people to be missing out on a romance to think like, I've got some time, you know, I really want a romance now, but I've got a little, and then find out that no, in fact, you don't have any more time. So
yeah. Also, who doesn't just throw themselves into a romance immediately? Let's be honest.
Let's
be honest. We're BioWare fans. We know what we are.
A particular faction, or can Rook only learn a specialization from a particular faction, like through a faction trainer?
So the specializations are a lot more thematically tied to the factions than they are as strict. You must be X faction. You must get it from this person. You know, for example, I'll use the Veil Ranger. The Veil Ranger is all themed, as Kryn said earlier, around electricity, around the use of the Veil, around the use of that kind of magic. So while they are thematically tied, there is no, you must be a crow to be a Spellblade, for example. And part of that's because while we do like having that connection between gameplay and, you know, roleplay, we also don't want you to feel like, well, I really wanted to be Spellblade, but I also really want to be a Grey Warden. We don't want those two things. Sometimes we want gameplay to influence narrative, but we never want you to feel restricted by one against the other.
I appreciate that. I do think sometimes it's necessary if it doesn't make sense.
Can I go off script really quickly? All right. So I saw someone post in chat. Okay, Ollie next time, though. Let me just say, I cannot make promises. I cannot. but I'm with you.
Hey!
I love it. Anytime you want to address anything that's happening in chat, by all means.
Hell yeah.
Do that.
I mean, don't go too crazy. Or...
Corinne?
This next question is from K. Sarah Sarah. Will we be able to change the font size in the UI, subtitles, etc.?
Oh god, yes, please. We have in previous games, so I assume we can in this one too.
So quick reminder, we are going to do a deeper dive as we get closer to launch on accessibility settings, but let me just answer this one. Yeah, you absolutely can. There are limits, of course. But
Dyslexia
as a fellow
font.
person who often has to squint, I'm 42, y'all. My eyes are starting to go. I can play comfortably. I suspect most players will be able to play comfortably.
Will there be a way to save characters so we save characters we make so we don't have to start from scratch each time?
Heck yeah, you absolutely can.
Hell yeah.
I mean, look, all of you.
Oh, I see Gil.
You're still sharing your OC and your characters 10 years on.
I see Katie in here.
We know how much you love it, so yeah, absolutely. I do want to have some caveats here, though.
Slovellen.
So it's when you're in the character creator, you can import a character appearance. It's just going to be the appearance data from an existing save of yours. So when I say an existing save, just let me put a very fine point on it. That save has to be local to the machine.
Okay.
Remember, we're an offline game. There's no online character
That's
sharing
fair.
built in. But for those of you that like your OC are very near and dear to your heart, and every time you replay, you like to have the same like character, and you've spent hours and hours and hours working on it. Yeah, you can import that.
Hell yeah.
We saw how many of you were saving screenshots of sliders in DAI, and that was not a great experience, as we're well aware. So,
I love that.
This next one is our companion quests going to focus on internal factors or external personal events? Like, will it be a growth in character and self-discovery, or are they firmly rooted in their sense of self and will ask
the
for
slider horror
need
is
help
over
with their factions, interpersonal relationships, etc.?
So that's another great question. It's a mix of both. I mean, each companion has their own personal arc. Over the course of the game, you go on missions with them, you solve problems with them, and the nature of those problems, the problems are oftentimes very external in nature. Something's happening that they need help with, but most of the time those problems are also tied to their own personal growth as a character. Again, we really want to make sure that players feel invested in these characters, feel invested in their stories. And we also want to show that these characters do grow over the course of the Veilguard. These aren't characters who remain completely static from moment one to the end game. These are characters who grow, and you help them grow. They're still their problem. They're still not going to they're not sitting there saying, "Well, Rook, you need to do everything for me." But you're intended to be the leader of this group, but also you can be their friend and help them with things that their challenges. So, yeah, I mean, it's a mix of both. We really just. It comes down to the individual character, and there is a lot of nuance in that answer, I think, too.
This next question from Zeno Gabby is a minor spoiler, so you've been warned once again.
Minor spoiler.
The question is Lucanus possessed?
So again, spoilers. Everyone has been warned, fairly warned. So Lucanus de la Morte is also known as the Demon of Rantium, and he has spent a lot of time killing Venatori, who are mages, and who do know a lot about demons. So, yeah, somebody decided that it might be a good idea to make that nickname stick.
Oh my god!
From a user named Crom. Is there reactivity towards the specialization that you chose? Like, some people might trust more champions, or maybe others will freak out with Death Callers or Reapers.
Are you kidding
me? What a good question. So, in general, the reactivity is reserved for things that aren't necessarily likely to change, things that can create a through line that we can keep building and building upon. So, like your faction, your lineage, your class, your choices.
I'm sorry?
So that keeps a consistent narrative thread.
That is
with
not
those
a
elements,
minor
and then
spoiler. That is a
boom,
massive fucking
that
spoiler.
thread continues from beat to beat. So the answer is no, they don't react to your specialization, but in part that's because you can full refund. You can respec at any time. You might be a death caller one moment and another specialization on the next encounter.
Let's fix Lucanis on top of his cheese wheels.
And this next question, you mentioned
they're
encountering
getting
companions
a
on their
kick.
own missions in the world. If I keep my party mostly the same, does that mean that I miss out on their side missions, or are they unavailable to be picked up during that time?
Oh yeah. I mean, you have all the tools that you're not going to miss out on quests based on who's in your party. How would I answer this? So there are certain plot elements that can change what quests are available.
You know that they
to
saw
you.
us all freaking out, and they're just
In
like, oh,
some
it's fine.
cases, some quests that you might have in your journal can actually expire based on choices and how you advance the plot. So
My
there
first
are ways
abomination
that
husband.
quest
You got this,
content
Ketu.
gets cut off or alters, but in general, you have the visibility and the tools so that you won't miss out on it. I can give you a couple of examples. That might be helpful. So, when you meet companions
Here
out
we
in the
go
world,
again.
there's
Yeah.
kind of like
Anders
a couple of
2.0.
different ways that they can show up. In a recent playthrough, I was exploring hospital.
Oh, I guess number 3, yeah.
It was technically
Looks
for a
at Anders,
quest that
yep.
should have been more oriented toward Davrin, but I didn't have him in my party. And as I got close to the objective, he showed up with a San and helped me clear the path forward.
Oh, okay. So they force it if he's not with you.
The other way this will happen, I was out in Arlethan, actually on my way to do a main story mission, and I get to the far reaches of Arlethan Forest, and I already knew
Keep
that
Lucanis
Tosh
away from any chantries.
wanted to help me with some of the challenges of that arc. Well, Tosh is right there waiting for me, so I actually chose to instead, Tosh seems impatient, I'm gonna actually jump on that story arc right now instead of what I intended to do. So, just some examples of the way that as you're journeying through this world, opportunities are going to show up, but they allow you just to express more agency. You're generally not going to miss them.
Okay.
Awesome. This next one is a minor spoiler.
Okay.
You've been warned. This next question is from Tazaba. What's the difference between the Veil Jumper faction and the Veil Ranger specialization?
Yeah.
Clemmy.
Okay, so
Clemmy.
Yeah, we just wanted to kind of flag this as a spoiler, just because there might be assumptions about how you take on.
Okay, I'm turning down the audio for 2 seconds just so I can tell you one thing. They said, very vaguely, but kind of legitimately, Lucanis may or may not be possessed. Leaning towards may be possessed. May is gonna appear, like Maveris, and you're gonna be able to give gifts to your companions, a la Dragon Age Origins, and they will display them in their rooms. Those are the big things so far.
So in this particular case, and I get the confusion because Veil Jumper and Veil Ranger sound very similar. If I'm playing as a rogue, using the Veil Ranger specialization, all that means
Can we hug
I'm
Manfred?
fighting
That's
in
what I
the
want to know.
style of the Veil Jumpers, like they do with bow and arrow, typically electric damage, that sort of thing. So just to be super clear, it's not required that you have to be a Veil Jumper in order to play a Veil Ranger.
This next question is, where is the equator in Thetis, or the planet Thetis is on, relative to places we've explored?
Well, that is a great question. So I will say that, it's funny, until I saw this question, it's not something I'd ever thought a lot about, but as I started thinking about it a little bit more deeply, based on how the climate changes across Thetis, obviously to the south are the Avar, and things get a little bit more wintry, and then up north is a lot more tropical. I'd say that Thetis is a southern continent on this world, so.
Are there any main story missions that require you to use a specific companion? Kind of similar to a previous question.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. So, there are a few.
I love
yes.
Epler.
Again,
He
in
thinks
the-
about everything.
in the warrior deep dive, not gonna describe it just in case anyone.
They've never
didn't wanna
officially
have
answered that
spoilers.
either.
You can see that a companion was required for that. However, that's the exception rather than
Does
the rule.
Minrathous have a
In
Trader
general,
Joe's?
we try and give players the agency to bring who they want for these moments. There are these times where a companion, either their faction or their story arc is so closely tied or intersects with the events of a main story mission that they do become required. But it's not the standard. And then, of course, in general, if you're doing your companions' arcs, those are the moments where they're more than likely.
I'm sorry to put that out there, Clemmy. I'm sorry to tell you this.
It's
It's
pretty
something I thought of
flexible.
earlier.
Like, if you're worried about like every mission I go through, like am I going to have someone that's
I
gonna
know.
be mandated?
For different
Generally
reasons, but
not.
I know.
Sorry, I almost talked over you there, Corinne. My bad. This next question is, will we be able to pause cutscenes? Will there be any kind of dialogue history to look back on if we miss what was said?
So you can pause every cutscene in the game. Obviously, life happens. You know, somebody, maybe your cat's, just to use an example that definitely doesn't happen to me regularly. My cat, might be throwing up in the next room, and I need to find a way to get her off of the carpet and onto, not the carpet. So you can pause any cutscene and conversation. There is no dialogue history at the moment, unfortunately, and that's not something we did look into it, but it's just based on how the dialogue is structured and how it's built in this game. That's not something that we are going to have, unfortunately.
I saw somebody say cat vomiting is so real, and I agree. Sometimes when I'm playing games, my dog decides to do something insane. So this next question is, since companions can get into relationships with each other, is there a mechanic behind which companions get together? Can a companion leave due to your world decisions? And if so, will their partners leave with them?
So I'm going to answer half this question. The other half is a spoiler that we're not going to get into right now. Companions, there is not actually a mechanic behind the companions getting together. We never wanted it to feel like a mechanical thing, and obviously different companions are going to have different attractions. One of the fun things is, as you're going through, especially if you're not flirting with one of the companions, you can see these relationships starting to develop. And the thing that actually allows them to, completely develop is generally committing to another relationship, or not engaging in a romance with those companions at all. So yeah, I mean, there's not a mechanic. It's just what we felt made the most sense, and
I love it.
I think that's honestly one of my favorite things with the companions is they're all written to feel like real people with real preferences and real, attractions.
Yeah.
So beyond just romances, they also develop friendships and even rivalries with each other because of them feeling like these characters that exist outside of just the game. So
Emmerich versus Lucanus.
Awesome. This next question is all about Davrin. Hildrana would love to know more about Davrin. What's his personality like? What kind of hobbies or things does he like? And what his relationship with Asan is like?
So Davrin is one of, I say one of my favorite characters.
What did
Honestly,
I miss out
love
on?
all the 7 companions, so it's challenging for me to say which. But Davrin is stern, thoughtful and considerate, though. He has a soft side for sure. You see that develop over time as he starts to warm up to the other companions. He has, a kindness to him that is brought out in particular by certain companions, and also a strong sense of
Lucanus, mage killer.
When he develops rivalry with some of the companions.
Emmerich,
So there's that
necromancer.
sense
I feel
of
like they're not going to get
he
along.
knows who
Rivalry.
he wants to be. He knows who he is, and a lot of his arc is.
To me, that's very
in
obvious,
terms of
like
how
Fenris
he
versus
relates
Anders.
to
You know what I
Son.
mean?
His relationship evolves over time. I'm not going to get too deep into spoilers because there are spoilers in that for his quest.
There's rivalry
other
between the
interesting
companions. That's what they
about
just
Davrin,
said.
and this shows up. We talked about this before. He's a monster hunter. He's not just a warden who sees fighting monsters as just part of the job. He believes in turning this into a skill set that he alone, he has more than anyone else. Learning how to defeat monsters, learning their weaknesses, and that does show up a lot in his character arc. So.
This next question actually came through our Ask box on Tumblr, so shout out the BioWare Tumblr. Rose Red is asking, why do elves seem to not like wearing shoes? Is there a lore reason behind it? Are they not afraid of getting frostbite or stepping in something gross?
So the shoeless elves thing is in part Dalish are very close to nature. They go around shoeless in large part to become closer to nature. It's part of their culture. It's part of who they are. But, especially, and it's not true of every Dalish clan. The Dalish are a tremendously widely spread and widely varied people. So, for example, Balara does not go around shoeless. She wears boots. She's climbing around on ancient ruins, walking through maybe a shattered or a place where alluvion shattered. It's a great way to get your feet sliced up on the hard rocks and on the hard glass.
Yeah.
And in general, Veil jumpers are a little bit more where they go and what they do really requires a lot more care and a lot more protection. So, you'll notice in Balara's visual design, but also in the visual design of the other Veil jumpers, they're very practically minded. They know that what they're doing is dangerous, and and again, not every Dalish clan goes around shoeless. So.
ZJ wants to know, do all companions have aesthetic changes when in the lighthouse and outside of the lighthouse?
I assume so.
Yeah. Yeah, they absolutely do. So just like Rook, each of the companions has what we refer to as their casual wear. This is how they look in their downtime, their more relaxed moments. It's definitely different from how they look headed into battle. And I'll tell you this. If Emmerich's casual wear doesn't send you, I just don't know what to tell you.
Elisa!
I've got a fun one coming up.
Did you hear what they just said?
Have favorite foods, and if so, what are they?
Oh, I love this one. So they do. Each of them does have favorite foods. It's funny. I'd say that Dragon Age: The Veilguard is probably the most we've talked about food in the context of Dragon Age ever. But yeah, some of them.
They said if Emmerich's casual wear doesn't send you,
taste, and in large part that's because that's what they're used to.
Yeah, Elisa's just dead on the floor right now.
We talked. I'm gonna actually give a little bit of a. I don't know if I consider this a spoiler, but maybe if you're.
I can't wait to turn it into a sticker.
You don't want to listen to this last part. We've talked about how there's people on the team who are better cooks and people on the team who maybe don't have necessarily the skill set who could burn water. So. One of the things I really love is, Balara and Lucanus actually end up being essentially the team cooks. Balara, spending a lot of time out in nature, learning a lot about, different types of cooking, is a really big on experimentation. She likes to, try different things. Lucanus comes from the crows. Lucanus is very big on the finer things. So between the two of them,
Lucanus
there's a point in the
is a
story
house
where
husband.
They basically decide if we
Confirmed.
don't do this, the entire team is going to starve. So let's just call ourselves the cooks and make sure that nobody dies of food poisoning. So
yeah.
This next one, I believe we actually might have even touched on this in the first Q&A, but Trev has noticed a lack of dwarves in our promotional material concerning Rook.
Yes.
Inquisition had them sharing facial hair options with humans. So their question is, will dwarves return to more braided, grander beards, or will the facial hair options be shared like previously?
Yeah, we did touch on this briefly, so let me go a little bit deeper. Yeah, there are some grander dwarven beards, like braids, beads woven in. It's really lovely and really thematic. And y'all have seen our strand hair, how great that looks. I think it looks just as great for the beards. And I do know we're going to, at some point leading up to launch, we are going to be showing some dwarf rooks.
I'm excited
so
for that.
let's see if we can't get some beard options on display there. It actually really was quite the challenge to get the physics to work
Dwarf
with all the
rook.
armor variants we have on those beards.
Dude.
So I'll tell you what, y'all.
He and Varric can be besties. I will make a male dwarf.
Would it be okay if I just asked in chat, could we get some love for our character art and tech anim teams? Because they put their heart and soul into making sure this would work for y'all.
It is incredible how good the beards look. It just, it's, the work that they've done is just spectacular.
Oh, y'all are too kind.
Yep.
And then I guess just to finish up this question, we try and let you use as many options as the character creator has for any character you want to create. So we definitely created beards in mind that are more dwarven in nature.
Cool.
You can use that on a Kunari if you want, or you can use a more traditional human beard on a dwarf if you want.
God, I'm
but
so
your
excited.
options are there. Oh, y'all are lovely. Thank you so much.
So we didn't tag this next one as a minor spoiler, and I don't think that it is, but definitely want to flag it anyway. Will the Solovellans have a chance at a happy ending?
Corinne, I'm going to let you do this one.
Oh my goodness, this is the question. Look, I mean, I thought y'all wanted the pain. Didn't you tell me you wanted the pain?
No!
That tortured romance that rips your heart out? Honestly, though, I just wouldn't feel right about spoiling anything here. I'll just say this. Trick has done a fantastic job with Solas. They always do. This is some of their best work, I think. And then I'll also say, as for myself, as the resident Solovellen shipper on the leadership team, I'm repping y'all. But that's all I'm gonna say.
That's definitely what I meant by it.
Solas
Not
is
really
dead
a
confirmed.
spoiler, but some people might have thought that
No.
in the beginning. Okay, next question.
My guess is Llewellyn sticks with him in the
Since you can
veil.
choose to be part of the same faction for most of the companions, will that give you an advantage when trying to befriend them?
So you will get some unique dialogue with the companions that are part of your own faction. The first time you meet them, they may not all know
Tinfoil
you
has
by
that Rook
face,
is
but they've
actually
at least
dead. Oh
heard
my
of
god,
you,
no.
heard of who you are, and maybe even heard of you leaving the faction to go help Varric track down Solas. But that said, you know the faction. You don't necessarily know them as people, so they will know you, but you still have to work to earn their trust and learn, get them, help them with their problems.
And next question is, will there be more connections between the Veil Guard? Like, will we see them hanging out together without us?
Oh, I love this one. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think I've said this twice already, but my favorite thing is how much the companions feel like and end up feeling like a found family. They're invested in each other's problems, they're invested in each other's
We're going back to
successes,
found
failures,
family.
And this manifests through a bunch of different ways. Scenes, banter, even interactions in the lighthouse itself. Because one of the things that I think is important, I know Corinne also thinks is super important, these worlds, these games feel the best when they don't feel like they're there as a theme park just for you, just to exist for Rook as a protagonist. These are characters that have relationships, have, things going on that don't necessarily directly involve Rook all the time. They have their own relationships, their own feelings, and we really want them to feel like their own people and feel like they do exist outside of just the sphere of Rook. So, they'll follow you. You're the one leading this fight, but the companions don't just...
I don't know what Meet Joe Black is still.
So this next one is a real minor spoiler warning.
Oh, I have to pee.
Will the companions have interactions with Solas? I imagine the companions will comment on Rook's decisions regarding Solas, but was wondering if the potential relationship between Solas and the companions will play any part.
Oh, this is a good question. So a lot of Solas' relationship is with Rook. Rook and Solas have a connection, they have a bond, and part of that is, and I've said this before, but Solas sees a lot of himself in Rook. He sees, the person he was before, the person he thinks he is in Rook, and become, again, they develop a connection. You get to flavor how it is. You can make it more antagonistic, make it friendlier, but ultimately, it is a connection between the two of you. Now, that said, the companions are much a part of Rook's story as Solas is, and sometimes those relationships can cross over, as well as there are followers who, are going to have a more complicated connection, a complicated relationship with just Solas as an entity. Valara, for example, is an elf. She's Dalish, and this is a person from her pantheon, so there's going to be a lot more of I guess, like I said, complex relationship between the two of them. Davern is another example, someone else who is Dalish, so, their views on the gods in general are going to be a little bit different. And then on the other side, you have someone like Emmerich, who's very big on magic and the Fates. So they'll have their own questions, their own thoughts.
Before I get to this next question, I do want to say that we've got about a 15-minute warning. We've got about 15 minutes left, so we'll get through as many questions as we can in that time.
Oh, God.
And with that said, our next one
It is 61 days away.
And I feel like we might have actually touched on this earlier, but keep me honest. Would it be possible to hide some of the combat UI, such as companion trackers and enemy HP bars, for even more immersion?
Yeah, good question. It's actually, it's reasonably robust what you can do with your UI. So let me give you some examples. If normally when you hit an enemy, you'll see damage floaties come off of it. You want to turn those off, you can. If you want to play without, say, the mini-map or the wayfinding markers, have a more organic experience, you can. I challenged myself to do it was really difficult, but to do a really difficult run where I turned off my own health bar, you can do that too.
Whoa.
And then I know one of them that a lot of people have been asking about is we do have the incoming attack indicators that just help you react. But if you're the kind of player that wants to turn those off, cut down on the noise, yeah, you can do that too. So, you know, I can't say that we support every single option you might have in mind, but it's reasonably robust.
Oh.
And then another just small, minor spoiler. You've been warned yet again. Is there lockpicking in the game?
That's not a spoiler. There's always lockpicking.
Oh gosh, lockpicking. Notorious lockpicking. Well, let me answer it this way. I think the approach we took in the Veilguard is that each companion has a unique, what we're calling exploration ability or abilities that you can use to solve puzzles, access new areas, and find treasure. So, like, in that regard, it's not actually dissimilar to lockpicking. It's just that it is more thematic to the companions and their unique skill sets within the Veilguard. It's very specialized, I guess you could say. And, look, I've been there when you're playing
insufficient
and you
skill.
Feel like you have to take a
I can't
rogue,
do that. Yeah.
Otherwise, you're not going to be open the lockpick chests. Some players like that, some
Zephyr.
players dislike it. But the option that we wanted to give to y'all is that...
yeah, always play rogue.
Yeah, we did say this is a spoiler, right? We did. Yeah. So Rook does find a certain dagger, and through it, a method to channel these exploration abilities of their companions, even when the companion's not in your party. So, like, look, if I'm exploring Hossberg and there's a puzzle and I know how to solve it, like, I'm not running all the way back to, like, a party swap point.
Hell yeah.
You can just use the dagger.
I don't know if I like that or not.
This next one is not a spoiler, and it is actually something we confirmed a little bit earlier on in the Q&A, but it doesn't hurt to be clear. Can we freely reallocate or refund skill points?
Yeah,
yes.
We've confirmed this. I'm just going to keep it brief. Yes, absolutely.
It's useful, but I don't know about from a story perspective. Yeah,
files,
same.
No cost. It's an entirely friendly refund system. Go experiment, and then let me know what you do.
Okay. I like that.
Will the game be broken down into acts or stages at all? Mainly wondering for, like, spoiler discussion purposes while they're all playing and wanting to talk to one another about it.
So while we don't officially within the game say this is this act, this is the next act, there are some pretty obvious narrative breakpoints where the context changes, or there's, you know, events that make it clear that things are now advancing into a different stage. That's, now to be clear, that's largely around the critical path. Other content can largely be done at any time, but even there we do unlock certain things over the course of time, because again, it maybe doesn't make narrative sense in the context of, say, an earlier act, but now
I'm so stoked to play around with builds,
it feels a lot more,
which is not something I would have ever said about any game prior to BG3. Dude, I love BG3 so much. Post Veilguard, I will stream a BG3 run.
Now, I think this next question might be the most important question we can answer. A user by the name of Doggy Snores says, "Would you tell me happy birthday?"
Elisa!
Happy birthday, Doggy Snores.
Oh, happy birthday, Doggy Snores. I feel weird saying Doggy Snores. I mean, listen.
Gotta roll with it, Chris.
John, Katie.
Quick, someone clip that! Someone Someone clip that in Twitch.
Oh, okay.
You can
All
sing.
right. Happy birthday to
To you.
Katie, nope.
Are we gonna stop now? Okay, we're
We'll
good.
stop. We'll stop. We gotta get to the questions.
Elisa!
Yeah, we do have a time limit now. All right, next question. All right.
Thank
this is
you.
from Guapa. Okay,
Thank you,
I wanna
thank
know
you.
the helmet situation. Back in Inquisition, there were helmets exclusive to races, and to be honest, most helmets were exclusive to humans. Will elves and humans share helmets since their head shape seems to be more similar now? And will there be Kinari helmets rather than just face paints?
Love this described as the helmet situation. Love it. Yeah, so let me describe this to you. All the helmets can be worn by all the lineages, with one big exception. The Kinari still use the Vitar face paint.
I can't believe that just happened.
Each helmet has a unique look, and if you're using the Vitar variant of that instead, that too has a unique look. So you'll wear the face paint instead of the helmet. And we felt that this was just generally a good precedent following Inquisition, and really what led us to this decision is that when you see horn customization and hair customization with the horns in Character Creator, like, we didn't want to sacrifice that aspect of it. It's just effing cool. That's all I can say about it. So yeah, the Kinari will use Vitar. All the other helmets can be worn by all lineages. We've talked a lot about transmogs, so of course you can transmog them, you can hide your helmet, you can hide your helmet in certain situations. So I'd say as a situation, we're pretty happy with it.
Hell yeah.
This next question is: will we be able to tint and change the color of our armors, or do they have their default colors only?
Bestie, I wish I could hug you right now.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that kind of gets back to transmog in a way. Gosh, what's the best way to answer this, I think, is that each armor piece, like gear piece you have, will have bespoke colors. But for almost every single armor piece, while you can't dye them, we have created color variant cosmetics, and they're very often aligned with the various factions in the world, right? So like, there's one, for instance, that has this like incredible like flowing cape. I use it all the time.
Ooh.
There's a variant of it for each
cape?
faction with different colors and logos and things of that nature. So you can't dye, but it really is flexible and very thematic. And then I guess going back to the Venatori armor question we had way at the beginning, while I wouldn't say they're explicitly Venatori, there are some very Venatori-like color schemes in some of the armors you'll find.
I think this might be our last minor spoiler question.
Oh.
So once again, you've been warned.
Titled it Birthday Bitch. Thank you.
Ayla Fireheart asks, will we be seeing other griffins from the last flight?
Ooh, that's a good question.
So again, just to be clear, spoilers, but yeah, Asan has brothers and sisters, so
hey!
Asan is not the only griffin that shows
Yay!
up.
Hey, I just got to respond to something in comment. That somebody says, wait, does that mean I can't be pink? And I'm assuming we're talking about armors. There's some pink armors.
Yes.
Don't worry.
Confirmed.
There's some
pink.
As some of the companions come from media outside of the games, were they already chosen as companions for the game and then integrated into the additional media? Or were they characters outside of the game and the team wanted to bring them in?
I think this is pretty similar to a question we answered earlier. So, I mean, again, it depends, but if they showed up especially...
Corinne's answering the important questions. Yes, she is.
At that point, so.
Are there any lineage-based surnames, or is it just based on the background?
So, surnames in this game are entirely based on your background choice. The reason for this is we do reference your surname in dialogue, a not inconsiderable amount, and we didn't... At a certain point, it becomes unsustainable in terms of how many different variations. So we reference it based on your surnames, or sorry, your background.
Is there any chance that we'll be getting any audio snippets of some of the companions and Rook's voice lines before release?
Well, that's the great news about the Vows and Vengeance is that each companion will show up in one of the episodes, and you will be able to hear their voice in there. So. First episode yesterday, and there's more to come.
Remember when I said that was the last, we had already read the last minor spoiler? I was wrong. There's one more.
Okay.
So once again, you've been warned. Minor
I'm ready.
spoiler upcoming. This question is from Sammy Cherry Lee. Considering Varric's time skip looks are a direct translation of how he looked in the comics, what thought process went into Morrigan's new design? And what do you usually consider when bringing in old beloved characters back, but also make sure to adapt them to the years that have passed within the game?
So in every case, anytime we're bringing back a character, we want to think about what's changed for that character in the time since you last saw them. So Varric, Morrigan, any other characters we bring back, there is this thought of, okay, it's been, in this case, almost 10 years. What's changed for these characters in that intervening time? In the case of Morrigan, she's coming to terms with a lot of truths about both herself, but also her mother. You see her with Flemeth's crown, or a variation of it, and that's speaking to her personal journey of what I would call kind of acceptance of who she is and how she connects to Flemeth. Because ultimately, we want this to feel like a real world. They're not the same person they are 10 years ago. None of us are. And we don't want characters to feel like, 10 years have passed and, hey, I'm exactly the same. Because that's stagnation for the character, and it's just not believable or honestly fun for you. And it doesn't do justice to those characters.
Is Varric sad?
I think my Discord just went down again.
No, I can still hear you.
We can hear you, Katie. So.
Oh, good. I'll just keep talking.
Great.
Also, sorry for the F-bomb. I didn't know you could still hear me.
Hey, we've all been there.
Cursing in our Discord? My goodness.
Ban me. This next question is, can you clarify if Spellblade will be forced to use a dagger, or can we still use staff as a melee combat weapon?
Oh, heck yeah, let's go. I was wondering if this was going to be clear in the combat video we put out. So I'll speak about mage, but this is generally true of all the
I like how we want to know more about Varric.
So
Yeah,
they each have
I
two
need
weapon
my
sets.
strongman.
You've seen the character sheet. So
I think she's taking on Mathal's Hound.
Slot,
I think that's what they're confirming.
The dagger slot. So at any point, even between weapon swings, you can swap to your class alternate.
Yeah, someone is saying. I think she has, so it didn't end up in someone else's hands.
You're not locked
which
down
makes
into
sense.
one weapon set or the other. Even if you're in a given class or specialization. Now, what I would say is that the Spellblade specialization has a lot of extra functionality and depth that is augmented when using the Orb and Dagger. But if I give you an anecdote of how I play, the staff heavy attack armor, I take this, the staff heavy attack charge, I take a trait where when I'm doing damage and playing, it's building up that heavy attack charge on my staff, even when I'm playing as my Spellblade.
Poor girl.
So I'll
Morgan,
just go into town with Orb and Dagger. I'll notice that my staff is
Katie's down
charged.
again.
I'll swap at a convenient moment, use my heavy staff attack, blast the enemies down. And the really cool thing about it, I was telling y'all that these Nightmare players, planning around your elemental damage types, it's really great to have weapons of multiple elemental types, right? So I go up against something that's resistant to fire, I'm gonna hit down and maybe swap to my necrotic weapon.
Katie, I got banned for real.
I'm back in record time. Okay.
The chat.
Did we get to the next one, or was that just the Spellblade question?
Oh, sorry, I was geeking out too much.
Oh, that's okay. No, that's
great. We hit upon a favorite topic of mine.
That's okay. Do we think we have time for one more, or do we think it's time to wrap up?
No, one more. Come on.
I think we could do a couple more for sure.
Okay, we do only have 3 left.
Let's finish the list.
Let's do it. All right, next question. Since it was mentioned that playing as an elf in the Veil Jumpers will see you as more of a Dalish elf, and a city elf if you play as a shadow dragon, what kind of elf would you be in the other factions?
So this is actually a really interesting question for me, because I think one of the things I'd say is
I'll let you know if anything important happens after you leave, Elisa.
Is a lot more of a useful distinction in Ferelden, Orlais. So we're in Northern Thedas. Things are different up here, and a great example is Rivain. Dalish settlements, they have Dalish settlements within cities integrated into the cities because, again, they don't have
That's
that
true.
same bias, the same distinction. So it's not really a city elf versus Dalish elf thing in a lot of those cases. It's a lot more about how you play into the faction, and in some cases it matters more that you're an elf. In other cases, it doesn't actually matter to the people of that faction. They're just looking for someone who can do the work. A great example, and I'll just very, very light spoilers. Watch is a great example where they just care that you are capable of, executing the duties that you're given. So
This next question we've definitely confirmed a few times today already, but I'm sure there's been a couple of people who've cycled in and out. When will we be releasing detailed information on the full list of accessibility features in the game?
Yes.
So I mean, as we mentioned, we're not quite ready to talk about them, but we will be diving in them before launch. We want to make sure as many people as possible can enjoy and play the game. So
yeah, I think we're doing a feature, some kind of blog post on that. But yeah, that'll be a good format where we could be a little.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
All right, and the final question that I have on my list is about localization.
Okay.
Wooten Smith says, I'd like to hear more about how localization works. What sorts of things have to be changed or adjusted so they make sense in different regions? Do localization teams have to be super careful when they translate to make sure they're not accidentally revealing more than was intended in other versions? I've also always been very curious about accents in other versions. For example, I'm going to butcher this, do the Orlesian?
They might actually be getting them reviewed so they meet ADA standards, right? I believe so, yeah.
I tried.
That's like a legal
You got most
thing.
of the way there.
For example, do the Orlesian character voice actors speak in a French accent in the Japanese version? Or a dwarf character speak with an American accent in the French version?
Oh, that's funny.
So I'm going to talk broadly about localization, and I'll get a little bit into the accent question. So localization is a thing that we're doing constantly. We're always working with the teams. We have regular syncs with them. And a lot of that is because localization is not just, a lot of people think of it as like, yeah, you're just translating. Well, you're not. You're again, there's different things to understand about different languages. They have different rules around grammar. And I will say, I think every writer has at least one story where they wrote kind of a fun double entendre into a conversation, and then they got a ping from someone of the localization team saying, hey, can you very thoroughly explain what you meant there? And that's what I like to describe as being hoist on your own petard, because sometimes you're like, oh, I said this, it was really ribald, and now I don't want to talk to this person who is very seriously and very concernedly looking. She's like, could you please tell us what that means? But yeah, I mean, in general, it's an art form of its own. Different sayings translate differently into different languages. Different metaphors translate differently to different languages, and we always want to make sure that other people, people who are playing this game in every language have an experience that feels authentic and meaningful and doesn't feel like it's just kind of a,
Oh my god, someone said John Epler's profile picture on Discord looks like Solas is playing Wonderwall.
Localization is a huge part of what we do. The localization team we have is amazing. They do fantastic work. I love working with them. As far as accents, yeah, we do try to keep some consistency. It's not always going to be a one-to-one, but we do try to say, like, okay, so this character, this group of characters needs to sound similar, and they'll find an accent that works with the language that they're trying. Because, again, different accents.
That's confirmed, though.
Yeah. That there's that consistency. So, yeah.
We did it. That's all of our questions that we're able to get to today. I wanted to say a quick thanks again to the community for submitting all of these really thoughtful questions. It was a lot of fun going through them and making sure that we were able to give you some new stuff this time around.
Thank you to BioWare and John Epler.
Anything you guys want to say
Corinne,
before we hop off?
And Katie.
Yeah, can I just say, look, we love being here answering questions for you, but the support, the interest you all show, it really fuels us in the team. You all are a big part of us being able to make this game what it is, and I really hope we do you proud. So just sincere thank you to everyone.
Yeah, I just want to echo that. I've been on this project for a while, and it's been a lot of not getting to talk about it and coyly saying, I don't know, are we making more New Dragon Age? So being able to actually have these conversations and give you the details that you want without spoiling the game is a lot of fun. This is genuinely the funnest part.
We
of
love them.
so
yes.
Thank you, everyone.
Applause.
Awesome. Well, thank you both so much for your time, Corinne and John. And yeah, we have recorded the audio for this, so we're going to turn that into a transcription and put that in the Q&A archive channel, which lives underneath Ask BioWare.
Yes!
That will be coming, in the next couple of days to a week or so. We'll be working away at it as soon
You'll
as possible.
forever have
So
your
just
birthday wishes in there, Elisa.
Let me know if you have any questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good Friday, good weekend, and I'm going to go eat a sandwich. So
nice.
Friday.
Happy Friday and happy sandwich day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
I like I'm waving as if they're really there. Goodbye, Corinne. You beautiful, beautiful human. Oh my god, you guys. Okay, so let's just unpack that for a minute. First of all, Elisa, the happiest of birthdays to you, my bestest buddy, my best friend in the whole world. I don't think that could have gone better for you, my dude. Clemmy, I don't know how to access Twitch clips. I have to figure that out. As soon as I figure out how to find it, I'm going to send it to Elisa. Everyone was sweet in the chat too. They were so sweet. If you know how to get that or how to view it, or if you can just like send it to Elisa for her birth, that would be great. I'm looking at my Twitch right now to see how to figure it out. Maybe it's under content clips. Here we go. Okay, yep. I can share, download, landscape version. Okay, and then I will send this to you on Discord right now, Elisa. Upload a file. There. I just sent it to you. So we have multiple copies of it. That is probably the best birthday present you could have gotten, which is awesome. Holy shit. So, to recap the notes that I have taken so far, we have, so there's not going to be any romances with any NPCs outside of the companions. I am very upset, but there is still hope. Maybe Varric will survive. And maybe if you do very specific things in the previous games, he and Hawk can finally get together. I'm gonna pray it is so. Pray to the Maker. It also means that Rook isn't gonna be able to romance Solas unless they're considering him a companion. And same goes for Varric. Like, I guess it depends if they consider them companions or not, in the same way that the advisors were or were not, you know what I mean? So I guess we'll just have to find out. Lucanus was saying that family is very important to him. Balara is good friends with Lucanus and someone else, but I missed the name of who the other person was. Tosh and Emmerich are Corinne's favorites, and their banter is apparently awesome despite not seeing eye to eye on everything, so that's going to be fun to witness. The most challenging character to design, in Corinne's opinion, was Harding. Strange new powers. How does that layer into her pre-existing kit, her combat kit? It's also beneficial but not required to have one of each class in your party, and they've tried to balance that out well, which is good for us. Nev has a time slow ability, which makes everyone in the world around you and everything slow, but not the party members, which I think is fucking dope. Factions are going to dictate some of the gear that you will have available to your faction, but you can use it with any faction, i.e. if you pick up a Grey Warden piece, but you are a Veil Jumper, you can still use it. Also, some of these pieces will give more power or raise up your standing with different factions in game, so that's kind of cool. Transmogging is going to be a thing. You can change the appearance of gear based on what you've already acquired, which I'm really stoked about. Also, you can give gifts to your companions, and they will have them in their little rooms, which I'm so excited about. They also recommended that you read The Missing, To Winter Nights, and obviously listen to Vows and Vengeance, which is the new podcast currently airing. Episode 1 is out already, wherever your podcasts are listened to. Vows and Vengeance also, they're saying canonically takes place within a few weeks to a couple months before Veilguard starts. So that's good to know. Mayveris has been confirmed to appear in-game in Tevinter. What that will look like for us, we will have to wait and see. Lucanus may be possessed? Question mark? Okay. Also, there's more griffins. There are more griffins. That's very, 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 very exciting. Asan will have siblings. The companions are going to have unique exploration abilities, sort of like lockpicking, but more thematic to companions and their skill sets. So it's going to be more like, little puzzles here and there and things like that. Also, we got a little piece of lore that the equator of the planet is north of where Thetis is. Thetis is a southern continent on this world, which is very exciting. And there was lots of other tidbits and exciting things. They wished Elisa a happy birthday, which is just incredible. So I hope you enjoyed watching this with me today. Quick shout out to Torek and Nava Nation Gaming who started following my Twitch channel. I hope you guys enjoy the chaos that is here. To anyone watching on YouTube, I also hope that you enjoy the chaos here. I cannot be held responsible for my actions. Thank you guys for watching with me. I need to go and, breathe. Because that was a lot. Wow. We all just need a moment, yeah. So take some time for yourself today before you do whatever your plans are for the weekend or the evening. I hope you have a fabulous weekend. And I will see you guys Monday with more Dragon Age Inquisition. Until next time.